there that are worth looking at.
Yep. Well, and also you want to get them before Michigan does. But hey now.
Hey, David, when was the last time you were in Detroit?
A month ago. But
okay.
But before that, 2 years ago, Thanksgiving.
Gotcha.
That's right. You did a Michigan game, didn't you?
Yeah. Maybe the toughest team on their schedule so far, UNLV.
Yeah, that's true. Cupcake schedule every year.
Well,
never used to be.
No, only the last two. And trust me, they make up for it next year.
One of my mentor, Jack Ebling, back in East Lansing, his longtime broadcast partner who covers Michigan athletics. I remember he asked Harbaugh about the schedule last year because it was the non-conference, because that was when they played UConn, Hawaii, and I'm missing one, but it was like the three of the worst teams in the country. And Harbaugh just like scoffed at the question. He's like, I don't really know how to answer that. It's like, all right, dude.
Yeah, well, we can answer for you. It sucks.
Yeah, that's the truth, but
I will say Michigan was one of the 10 schools in the country who would play a really solid non-conference schedule every year. And what did it get them? Usually got them at least one loss.
Yeah, because the flip side is people always got to be mad at something. And like you said, just put wins on the schedule.
They'd always play Notre Dame. They'd always play a West Coast school.
Right. They always played a packed whatever school in Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So you couldn't come after them. But not anymore. Well, at least not last year and this year. Wait till next year.
Yeah, whoever that coach is going to have a hell of a schedule to play.
Sure, got that right. He's going to lose about 40 guys.
That Elko from Duke's going to have a hell of a schedule when he gets.
He sure is. Got to look at this and go, man, better tack on an extra year onto my contract. Look at that. Third person in the Twitch chat room. Already welcoming Trent by name. Look at that.
How did the wife take the usual Pittsburgh beatdown? Wow. I didn't rub it in. I was actually very nice. I didn't even do the chant yesterday.
Did you quietly put the dog collar on?
No, her best friends in town, her best friend's dad's made a turn, and
gotcha.
Her focus was more on that, so there was no sense of piling on yesterday. I am too, Ambient. Gives the Dolphins a shot at the 1 seed.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Makes Sunday a big flipping deal.
Little bit over a minute till we are live.
Man, you're going to insist on these time cues, aren't you?
Mark, I'm proud of you for not putting the dog collar on.
Couldn't.
Why? Why?
What you do is you slip it on today.
Yes. And you don't say anything, right?
Right.
Just nonchalantly. Here you go. And when she looks at you, you go,
6 and 2.
I gave you 24 hours. I gave you a day of mourning. Repeat after me, honey. J-A-G-S. Jags. Get the daughter to do it. Slip the dog collar on and get the daughter to do it. Mommy, how was your day?
5 seconds.
Jags.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you on this final Monday of October. Some look at today as mischief night, some as Devil's Night. And depending on how your football team did this weekend, well, you can answer accordingly. How the heck are you? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for starting your week off with us. Top of the morning to you, Mark. How are you?
Good morning, David. I am doing well. Refreshed, ready for the day. Good weekend of football. Good weekend of baseball.
Oh,
yes.
Look at you.
Yes, I watched a little baseball, went out with the family on the weekend, caught a little sports locally as well. So fired up for a Monday.
And today is the beginning of a new era, right?
It is.
In Act 3, Year 3 of Miller and Moulton, we have our 9th producer.
9th. Trent.
9th.
Trent
Yes.
Valley joins us. He is a Michigan native. He is a Detroit Lions season ticket holder, and you are in Detroit for his first show, getting ready for Monday Night Football that he on his first day will not be attending.
Correct. We will have 2 former Detroit Lions on the show, and we will have a Lions season ticket holder producing the show, although I'm told he nearly didn't make it.
No, he didn't. His car broke down in Tampa on the drive down yesterday, so he didn't get in until about 1 a.m. So he's already starting this job out on absolutely zero sleep.
So he's starting it off as sharp as Felipe was for most of his tenure.
Duty calls, David.
By the way, cutting it a little close there, Trent, huh? You showed up yesterday, huh? That was the plan?
Yeah,
Wow.
well, I had a big last hurrah in Mount Pleasant and back home and on Friday. And then on Saturday, I went down to Nashville, 8 hours, and then drove the other 10 yesterday. It was supposed to be 12, but ended up being about 10. But we made it.
Well,
Told the rest of the way, but that's all right. We're here.
We're glad to have. Wow. So we know where the first paycheck's going already. Oh, man. Sorry about that, but glad to have you. And welcome.
Thrilled to be here. Thank you.
Is he really thrilled? You've already spent 20 minutes with him. He is.
Yeah, he's fired up.
He thinks that this is still a great career, right? He's making a smart life choice and, right.
I spoke to the engineer from our company last week, and he said, "Hey, I heard you got a new producer starting." I said, "Yeah, I tried to talk him out of it for 20 minutes." And the engineer started laughing. He goes, "Well, I'm glad you did. I would have done the same thing in your spot."
But yes, I'm in Detroit Monday Night Football. It's the first time the Lions are a part of Monday Night Football in 5 years. And even that one, it was like a throwaway game. Anyway. So they're fired up. I will say, Mark, my goodness, I thought I was in Vegas. Everybody from the airport, right? Just everybody is so nice. They're like, "Hey, in town? All right, big weekend. The Pistons season opener Saturday. All right, Lions on Monday. Okay,
they're just giving you a false sense of security for Devil's Night, David.
I mean, everybody's like, "Hey, you in town for the game?" Yeah. Oh, isn't it great? Well, I hope so. Yeah. Unbelievably friendly.
Well, that's good. Michigan has a bad rap. Detroit has a bad rap. People are nice there.
No, but I mean, like, they're unbelievable. I've been here before. They did a couple of Thanksgivings, and the city is very proud of their Thanksgiving heritage and tradition with the NFL. And so they're always in a good. I've never had a bad experience in Detroit.
You've never been there when the football teams had a winning record.
Well, that
no.
Now.
You've never been there until now when the Detroit Lions have had a winning record.
Correct.
By the time you get there for Thanksgiving, they're fired up about Thanksgiving, but the season's already done.
That's true. Usually that is the end of the season. I'm going to put an exclamation point on it. Okay, this was fun, and let's move on.
Hey, maybe we can ruin Green Bay's year. I mean, that's what Thanksgiving is.
Now, beat the Bears.
Now,
right.
Not just division titles, but the way things are going. Maybe a home game or two.
Yes, that is true. That is true.
Maybe a home game or two. That's all.
And certainly Dolphin is maybe starting to get a little excited. Just Mark, I got to admit.
Talking.
Miami.
You're talking
Super Bowl. We are the
Miami
Dolphins. Miami Dolphins. Mark, I got to be honest. When I saw Joe Shad from the paper in Palm Beach, all right, at like 11 in the morning, showed the Dolphins spray painting the old logo with the old colors at midfield. And I got to admit, I got goosebumps. And I'm not a Dolphin fan, and I got goosebumps. And then, of course, I said out loud to about 13 people around me on the plane, why the hell don't they wear these all the time? Everybody looks at me. I go, I'm sorry. It's just a pet peeve of mine. My bad. Okay, I promise I'll be quiet the rest of the flight. Tell me everything about them didn't look so good yesterday. Why in the world are they going to go back to the players should just say, we're not wearing this crap. You really expect we got to wear this crap over in Germany? Why can we just keep these? These look so damn good. The colors, the helmet, the checker end zone. I mean, even Larry Zonka was ready to get back into a 3-point stance and give him a short yardage conversion. Come on. Oh, boy. So,
and a business-like win out of the Dolphins.
Yeah, exactly. You're doing what you need to do. Buffalo couldn't do it the week before. They swept the Patriots. We said that at the beginning of the year, right? You at least got to go 4-2 in the division, and in theory, you sweep the last place team. And if you split the other two, okay. Well, they swept the Patriots. They've lost at Buffalo. Now they're going to have 2 with the Jets and host the Bills. Let's see how much progress they can make. That'll probably determine whether or not they win the division.
To me, there's no doubt. Now the path is clear for them, and they did what they needed to do yesterday, and look good doing it.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you, okay, they covered also. They had that going for you, which is nice. By the way, speaking of covering, Mark Miller on a little 3-in-1 week with the Lions tonight. Yeah, chance to see this is, once again, now they can't let you down. You've put yourself in a spot where you are showing some faith in the team that you never fully adopted from your home state. And if, past history were to play itself out, they would disappoint you tonight. This could be one of those moments in which it will truly even say to you, okay, this team's different. A win and a cover tonight. You're like, how about them Lions?
There were a few teams you could say, how about them? And I would start with the Bengals yesterday with what they did. Going into San Francisco and Joe Burrow looking like Joe Burrow.
And Brock Purdy looking like the last pick of the draft. That's what we've seen the last couple of weeks. All of a sudden, Brock Purdy ain't so purdy.
He's looking more like Mr. Irrelevant.
Yes, he is. What's that? 5 picks the last 2 games? Huh.
5 picks, 3 touchdowns. 0-3.
It's funny when everything isn't going perfectly around you. And all of a sudden the burden shifts to you. Huh. Okay.
The Jags also, as we talk about the Dolphins and where they are, the Jags going into Pittsburgh, and despite turning it over a few times, still getting it done and getting it done with their defense.
You mean my number 1 seed in the AFC, Jacksonville Jaguars?
Yes.
Going into Pittsburgh and running it down their throat, looking at the Steelers saying, well, we're going to be physical. How about you? We think we could be more physical, actually. Huh. Trevor with some awful intercept. Oh my god, that one in the end zone was like literally a guy that you drafted in the 6th round in a preseason game trying to make the team, and you go, I guess we can't keep him now. Oh my goodness, horrendous.
Yeah. There were only 3 or 4 defenders there with Ridley.
I was going to say,
I don't know what the hell he was looking at. I mean, I'm watching it right there with you, David, going,
what the? Wait, you're a franchise quarterback. Wait, it's 1st and goal at the 6. Guy's triple teamed. What are you doing? Throw it away.
Good news is whatever the problems are, if it's Pickett, if it's Matt Canada, whatever the case may be, that's not an NFL offense.
Not 60 minutes worth. No. No. They keep thinking they can play like 10, 12 good minutes and keep winning games. Even the defense is going to start to get annoyed here pretty soon. So the Niners have lost 3 in a row, and the Chiefs lost the division game, which had like not happened since the pandemic. I mean, damn. And Denver hadn't beaten them since Peyton Manning was their quarterback. Peyton Manning. Remember him? That's the Obama administration.
How could you forget him? He's still in every damn commercial that's on television.
I know. Hell, now even Eli's doing ads.
I know.
Not only that, for Corona. We really think Eli's drinking Corona?
No,
I don't. He looks like a Mick Ultra guy, doesn't he?
Interesting. 21,000. What kind of beer does Eli drink? Had him more snooty than that. I had him as an IPA guy. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I mean, he did go to Ole Miss after all.
Right. Little snooty at the end of the day. Then throws New York attitude into it with the Old Miss.
Miller and Moulton on this Monday. Where I grew up, it was Mischief Night. Where Mark grew up and where I'm currently sitting, it was Devil's Night.
Be careful what you call it for the next 24 hours. That's all I'm telling you, David. Call it whatever you want when you're back in Florida. But if you want to walk around tonight and they ask you what night it is, you better answer that it's Devil's Night. Terrific show lined up for you. The starting 5 is 25 minutes away right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and Tiki Bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
And KW, I think that's largely because of look at who his quarterbacks have been. They're not the type of quarterbacks that can say, okay, I'll take it from here.
You good?
Yes.
All right.
Ryro, even for the Giants, that was something. Even for the Giants.
Could have ended the Jet season yesterday.
Well, and in a way, I think they're kind of leading the fan base to more torture. I mean, I'm glad that at least a couple of the people in the New York media said, listen, forget the final score. Did you watch the game? Did you watch the game? They're like, come on. Enough already. Stop trying to tell us he's an NFL quarterback. Paul, big debate. Folks in Houston are not happy.
How could it? I thought it was the Texans wearing them. I had to figure out who was playing.
Isn't that kind of weird? Because
It's awful.
they're in the same division as the Texans and the Titans.
Texans
You know
are
what I mean?
not happy. Not happy. But if you think about it, the Houston Oilers moved to the state of Tennessee.
Oh yeah, the lineage makes sense. It's just like weird that there's now a team back in Houston that's not the Oilers, and there's a team in the league that wears the Houston Oilers jerseys.
Right.
That's not the Houston team. It's just weird.
It was. Those uniforms look good, though.
Look great.
They look good.
Oh, they did look good.
Will Levis probably wants to wear them every game.
Who knew that the DFS play was to play Will Levis and D-Hop?
Yeah, never would have thought.
I think, Adam, the final number was 24, I thought.
24.
Yeah. Most punts in a game since 88. Hello.
I was driving through Atlanta or driving through Georgia for that game, so I got to listen to the local radio, and the local Falcons guys were not happy with the officiating.
Oh, geez.
Shocker.
Yeah.
Back in 20 seconds, by the way.
Give it 4 touchdowns to Will Levis. How about if you cover DeAndre Hopkins?
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour on this final Monday of October. Devils or Mischief Night, depending on where it is that you grew up. Monday Night Football tonight. It's why I'm in Detroit. Lions hosting the Raiders. We'll get to that in due time. How about your first place Miami Dolphins, 8 games into the season? How about your first place Jacksonville Jaguars, 8 games into the season? How about the 4 division leaders in the AFC all being 6-2 and the number 1 seed very much up for grabs in the AFC? How about that?
Just at Jags and Dolphins, who's better?
Oh, is that a poll question?
It could be.
How about if a poll question is the 4 division leaders in the AFC are all 6-2? Who's the best? Got to admit, they've all got, when Lamar's healthy, last 2.5 years, the Ravens have the second best record in the AFC.
And probably should be 8-0. They're not.
Definitely should be 7-1, but yes, 8-0. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
Can't say that about anybody else in the conference.
Nope. Okay. This isn't me just, being weird, being Trader David, GM in waiting, as his Pat Kerwin makes fun of me and says twice a week on this show. Okay, you're the GM of the Vikings now, smarty pants. Yeah, right. No, you didn't extend Kirk Cousins. Why do you want to do that? Only one of the 10 best quarterbacks in the league. Okay, and so now he's hurt. Basically, he's taking his last snap with the Vikings unless you intervene. And you've had 1.5 years to intervene. So I have to assume Kirk Cousins is taking his last snap with the Vikings. All right, Mark. Minnesota's a playoff team right now. They are. They're a playoff team.
They're
they
the
would
7th
make
seed
the
with
playoffs.
yesterday's win. They're in, right.
Yeah. And they have a terrific conference record in the NFC. They've won 4 out of 5. Don't you have an obligation to the room if you're the GM? Whatever the hell your master grand plan is. You went 13-4 last year. You've dug yourselves out of an 0-3 start. You're 4-4. You just went to Lambeau and won. We can go ask a Vikings fan how many good Vikings teams have gone to Lambeau and lost. I don't care that this is a 2-5 Packers team. It does not matter. They went to Lambeau and won. Ask a Vikings fan about it, how significant that is. Before that, they beat the Niners when we didn't think that Brock Purdy was broken and what have you. Don't you have an obligation now as GM of the team to go and get a quarterback? Or are you really going to go the rest of the way with some combination of Jaron Hall, Sean Mannion, all right, and Nick Mullins? I mean, are you really going to do that? You're the general manager of an NFL team. You're going to look your franchise and its fan base in the face and go, no, we're going with Jaron Hall, Sean Mannion, or Nick Mullins the rest of the way. Remember, you don't have Cousins signed. This isn't a case of if you go acquire Matthew Stafford, well, there's a problem. He's got a couple years left on his contract, and so does Kirk. No. Kirk's contract voids out after the Super Bowl. You don't have a quarterback right now.
I know they brought in Colt McCoy a couple of weeks ago. I'm just telling you what they did based on the 3 guys you had. But it's pretty obvious. You have to call Tennessee.
Tannehill, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty obvious, David. That's the phone call you have to make, because I don't know if there's anybody else available in the league that suffices.
Although I'll tell you what, Arizona would trade you Kyler Murray if you're really interested. Don't think they wouldn't. Don't think they wouldn't.
But you got to call Tennessee.
Yeah, okay. I'll give you your choice. Tannehill, final year of a contract, and Tennessee's going to have to absorb most of the contract. So don't worry about it from a cap standpoint. These teams will make it work. Deadline's 4:00 tomorrow. Your choice. Stafford, and he's your guy going forward for a couple years, or I'll just rent Tannehill for the rest of this year. Remember, there's no guarantee Kirk Cousins is going to be your quarterback next year. You've totally mishandled these negotiations. And is there any more cold-blooded negotiator in the NFL in the last 8 years than Kirk Cousins?
I know they'd have to. I mean, can they do it with Stafford cap-wise? I don't care how much of the thing. The Rams have to absorb almost the whole thing. So then you're giving up a lot more draft capital. I'm merely asking, could you pull that off with what he makes? That seems unrealistic, David.
They'd have to absorb it for this year. But in theory, then he's your quarterback. And, and therefore you take a quarterback salary and put it into your cap.
Yeah, I got you beyond this year. I just don't know how they make it work this year. That seems like that would be difficult.
I agree. And clearly that's not the way they want to go, or what would they have done? You would have thought they would have re-signed Kirk Cousins at some point in the last year and a half. But just wonder. So you would call Tennessee and say, come on.
Yeah.
You're done with him.
I'd have been on the phone with Tennessee last night. And I'm not messing around. I just lost my guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And what if Tennessee says, listen, we kind of got you over a barrel here, 4th round pick,
probably saying yes.
3rd round pick.
You've got me over a barrel. I don't,
Plus you're thinking you're going to make the playoffs, so you're giving up like what, the 85th pick of the draft?
And we talked about this last week, but after that win, they now have at the Falcons, obviously a winnable game, home for the Saints, at the Broncos, home for the Bears, at the Raiders. I mean, they finished with 2 with the Lions and 1 with the Bengals and the Packers. This schedule is not murderer's row.
Well, I don't know if any of the next 5 teams have a winning record, right? I think a couple of them are 4-4. Yeah. I mean, don't you have an obligation? Let me ask you this. Do you call the Steelers about Trubisky? Probably can't because Pickett just got hurt.
After what I watched?
Come on now. He came in cold.
Yeah, that's usually when they're at their best. After there's a little film on the guy, they gets worse. He can't play. He's not good.
Okay. I don't know if anyone in that offense is good. So just wondering.
I'll take Colt McCoy over Mitch Trubisky, I guess is what I'm telling you.
Wow. Look at you. Look at you. So just throwing that out there. Trading deadline's 4:00 tomorrow. I know it's a sport in which these type of things don't normally happen.
But to your point, the Vikings owe it to that room to give that team some semblance of a shot.
Nick in our Twitch chat room, this is a very interesting suggestion. How about Jameis Winston? I like that suggestion. Not only that, you give him 2 months to see whether or not he's your stopgap for the next year or two at an affordable price. Kind of like Geno Smith in Seattle, that type of deal. I like that suggestion. Of course, he's played like 3 games in 3 years, but whatever.
But the Vikings are over a barrel in more ways than one because Cousins, as you mentioned, beyond this year is not obligated to anybody.
Right. And Mark, what's the history of Kirk Cousins when he's not obligated to you? What does it usually
He's going to get the most money that is available to him from whoever is going to pay him the most money.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the way that works with Kirk Cousins. Great guy, but Kirk gets paid. Starting fives next right here, Miller and Moulton.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence. to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill. 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Did you make it into a casino?
Well, I had to walk through the MGM Grand to the restaurant where we met.
Did you stop at a table?
I couldn't find a blackjack table open.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It was like 4 PM. It was all slots. So I did a little one-arm banditing for 10 minutes.
Win any money?
No. They have a nice little sports book there, though. Okay. Very nice. I just gazed at it, kind of like, maybe one day. Just one day, if we behave ourselves. That might be the offer I make Governor DeSantis. Hey, I'll donate to your presidential campaign if you... What do you say? And I get a few people to come with me. And by few, I mean, if we go public with this, like a few 100,000. What do you say, Ron? Yeah. Oh, I think Denver absolutely.
Denver would do that tomorrow.
Yeah, totally. Arizona and Denver would gladly trade their quarterbacks.
By the way,
I
this
think-
is obvious stat if you like because of the Peyton Manning thing, but did you realize that the Broncos had won a Super Bowl more recently than they'd beaten the Chiefs? Isn't that crazy?
Correct. Yeah.
Sorry, David, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say that I think both the Broncos and the Cardinals would pick up all of next year's contract. I think they'd pick up the rest of this year and all of next year's contract.
Arizona for sure. You think you're right on both. Would the Bears trade Justin Fields to the Vikings? Someone texted Justin Fields.
With the Bears? I
Yeah.
think so. I think they would. Now, since you're doing it in division, the Vikings would have to pay a higher price. Philly's voice got a little deeper. Yes, it did. Yep.
Well, they would especially do it if they don't think he's any good, because then they're just
Well,
passing
and
off.
I think the Bears have already concluded he's not the answer.
Correct.
But there will be a significant part of their fan base that will really freak out on them. Also, you gave up 2 firsts to get them. So what are you getting back? 2.5, even though these guys weren't the ones that did the deal. Because the other thing is Fields is under contract for next year. And the Vikings could pick up his 5th-year option after this year and have him for 2 more years. So, like, if you're the Bears, do you settle for a 2nd-round pick?
Yes, gladly.
Okay. If I'm the Vikings, I'd make that deal. I'd roll the dice. I would. I'd bring him in. Let's go.
Because the other, names I'm hearing are like Jacoby Brissett.
Right.
Case Keenum.
Want to go Taylor Heineke?
Don't know if they're going to trade him.
Back in 10 seconds.
God, you were really into this whole timing thing, huh?
I'm sorry to throw you for a loop, David.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Gary Danielson joins us at the top of the hour after another glorious cocktail party. Man, oh man, what an overrated game. Honestly, this is not Oklahoma, Texas. This is not the Iron Bowl. This is just a bunch of gators and dogs that just want to party. Honestly, this game, you can't name 5 good ones in 40 years. And I mean good games where both, everybody goes, wow, that was a good game. Not because your team won 49-10. No, like what Oklahoma and Texas seemingly produce 2 out of every 3 years. Wait, I'm sorry, Mark. Hold on a second. Georgia's just got another first down.
Did whatever they wanted for the entire game.
Ooh-wee. And I love everybody in Gator Nation now coming all down on Billy Napier. Did you not see the talent difference? I mean, seriously. Like, if you think you got rid of Billy Napier, what? You'd lose that game by less? Come on now. Which team looked faster than the other? Which team? How many guys wearing blue could play for the team in red? That's a fair question, isn't it? Come on. This is varsity, junior varsity. This is Florida State 3 years ago. It's a bad roster. They need some time. Whoever the coach is, you need some time. Please. Georgia's bringing in their freshman 5 stars to rush the passer. That's where the pass rush came from in that game. Guys who hadn't played in the first half of the year. They're just getting their feet wet. You would kill for a couple of the get their feet wet guys. But Billy's starting to sign them. Give them some time. All right, I'm done.
The starting 5. 5 stories you need to know. It's the starting 5 on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
They're the Miami Dolphins, and they're 6-2. Dolphins with a very business-like performance, outclassing the Patriots. How many times have we said that over the last 20 years? Never. 31-17. Tua threw for 324 and 2 touchdowns. Patriots were 1 for 9 on third down, held to 218 total yards of offense. And when you say, well, they're the Patriots. Funny, they had 150 more yards of offense last week. So, I mean, you got to give the Dolphins defense a little bit of credit, right? Maybe?
Absolutely. D played well.
How about that?
They turned it over and gave it to him with a short field.
Yeah. Held him out of the end zone late in the half, then got a turnover, gave him points. Yeah. How about the Jags with a workman-like performance for their 5th win in a row? Thank you very much. They went into Pittsburgh, and they were the more physical team. Brandon McManus, 4 field goals, and despite 3 turnovers, the Jags knocked Kenny Pickett out of the game at halftime and beat the Steelers 20-10. What's that, like 6 of their last 7 in Pittsburgh they've won?
I know it's 8-10.
I mean, we're almost getting to the point where the Jags could call the Steelers, or the Steelers could call the Jags their daddy. Maybe
they were just little rags.
Brother? Oh, maybe they were just little rags, right?
Yeah.
Is that what Trevor said?
Yeah, cute little rags.
By the way, a very strange occurrence happened in Denver yesterday. I mean, maybe there are aliens and other things out there because, Mark, I could swear it says here the Broncos beat the Chiefs in football.
They did. No, that happened.
They hadn't done that since Peyton Manning was their quarterback. For a quick history lesson, that was 8 years ago.
Not only did they beat them, they held the Chiefs to 9 points.
5 turnovers. I mean, Russell Wilson, you want the good news or the bad news? Good news, threw for 3 touchdowns. Yeah, threw for 87 yards. Threw only 19 times. We were talking during the break. Would Arizona trade Kyler Murray? Would the Broncos trade Russell Wilson?
Absolutely. Sean Payton couldn't do that deal fast enough.
Our new producer, Trent, asked, would the Bears trade Fields? Miller and Moulton think they would. By the way, Joe Burrow is back to being Joe Burrow. That could be a problem for the rest of the AFC. Bengals are now 4-3. They beat San Francisco, who's lost 3 straight and are suddenly 5-3 and not in first place in the NFC West. 31-17, the final. That's right.
My Cincinnati Bengals, everybody.
Yes, that's what see. Mark Miller. And for the record, he had a moment of weakness where he was wavering, but he did not leave the wagon. He continued to drive the Bengals wagon. Mark Miller, there was a moment of weakness. He was staring at the Oreos, okay, but he did not grab one.
Oh, and they looked good.
For the record. Well, the Seahawks, I don't know that they deserved it because the Browns kind of kicked their butt for about 2.5 quarters, but Geno led them on a late drive, threw a touchdown with 38 seconds left. Seahawks 24-20 over Cleveland. Baltimore 6-2. They beat Arizona 31-24. How about that little late field goal? Arizona recovering the onside kick. They're down 10. The spread's either 9 or 9.5, depending on when you bet the game. And Baltimore can't recover the onside kick. Arizona does. They drive down. Prater kicks a field goal. They lose by 7. Unless you had the Cardinals in 9 and 9.5. Not that some people, were paying attention to that. The Eagles beat the Commanders 38-31. Hurts threw 4 touchdowns. They host the Cowboys next. That might be an interesting game. Cowboys just whooped up on the Rams.
That was over before it started, man. Wow.
They did to the Rams what Georgia did to Florida. Offense, defense, special teams, you name it. 43-20, Dallas stacked with 4 touchdown passes. Cowboys are 5-2. Vikings won, but they lost. They beat the Packers at Lambeau. Usually that's a big celebration. Yeah, Kirk Cousins blew out his right Achilles. And where do they go from here? Just so you know, Jaron Hall came in and finished the game. Sean Mannion is on their practice squad. Nick Mullins is eligible to come off the injured list week 10. Anybody buying this stock? That's what I thought. The Jets beat the Giants, and that's only because the Giants managed to somehow be more inept than the Jets. See, the Jets punted 11 times. Giants said, we'll punt 13.
When they brought in the third string quarterback, they had 24 straight runs, did the Giants?
Yes. He attempted 1 pass in the second half, and yet they should have won. Gano missed a late field goal. They allowed the Jets to hit 2 big pass plays, kick a tying field goal, and the Jets won in overtime. They're 4-3, and the Jets host the Chargers a week from tonight on Monday Night Football. They're hanging around, and I mean, Zach Wilson's horrible, and they're kidding themselves, but they're hanging around. Atlanta lost in Tennessee. It's probably the end of the Ryan Tannehill era, right? You think when Will Levis connected for the 3rd time with D-Hop that Tannehill turned to his wife and said, yeah, I think we're going to have to move. 4 touchdowns for the rookie in his debut.
Who did Atlanta play yesterday?
Well, Atlanta played on the road.
No, who was it? Did they play?
Well, it says here they played the Tennessee Titans. Why?
Because it didn't look like the Tennessee Titans. It looked like a team from Houston.
Well, I know it's a sore subject, but the Tennessee Titans used to be the Houston Oilers.
I know that. And yesterday they wore Houston Oiler jerseys.
That's much to the dismay of the Houston Texans, by the way, who lost to Carolina. I was going to say
it
Texans.
Really affected them a great deal.
I think it did. No offense. Beat the 0-6 Panthers before you complain about somebody else wearing uniforms.
Got that right.
Texans, by the way, host Tampa Bay next. And the Saints are tied with the Falcons, although Atlanta has the tiebreaker right now. They beat Indianapolis 38-27. Carr had 2 TD passes and Taysom Hill 2 TD runs. And the Saints play the Bears next, while the Colts visit the Panthers. Last night, hope you went to bed early instead of staying up to watch the Chargers beat the Bears 30-13. Justin Herbert, 3 touchdown passes for LA. Monday Night Football tonight, the Lions 7.5-point favorites at home against the Raiders. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington. That's your consensus top 5. Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington. Obviously, Michigan and Ohio State are going to play each other. So in theory, if you're one of the other 3 teams, you win out, you're in, right? The first college football playoff poll comes out tomorrow. Oklahoma, with the loss to Kansas, fell to 10. And Florida and Georgia, Mark, are already meeting to discuss where it is they're going to play the game when they renovate, whatever they're calling that stadium now. I think it's back to what it was before. It's not TIAA. I think it's Everbank or whatever. But anyway, they're talking about not on campus, because I think they know if they do it on campus, people will want to continue to do it on campus. So they're talking about when Georgia has to host the game in 26, that it'll be at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And then they'll figure out when the Gators have to host in 27, whether they do it in Orlando, Tampa, or Miami. But they're going to go NFL stadiums, not on campus. Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Well, you know why?
I know why, but
2 things. First off, they will get more money. They will get more money by playing on a neutral site. And Billy Napier said it's all about the economics. And Kirby admitted defeat on Friday. Kirby basically said, I'm done talking about it. You guys know my views. I'm done. Look at that. It's won back-to-back national championships. He still can't get Florida, Georgia moved. Damn. Damn.
You know how much power you have. Exactly. I mean, right to the
Wow.
right to the letter. You know exactly how much power you have, David.
I mean, he could get the president of the university fired, but he can't get the Florida-Georgia game moved.
Yep.
Game 3 of the World Series tonight. They're in Arizona. Series tied at 1 if you missed it. Max Scherzer against Brandon Pfaadt. Brandon Pfaadt's a rookie. Scherzer's a future Hall of Famer. This is a glorious pitching dichotomy here. Scherzer's only lasted 6 2/3 innings in 2 postseason starts, coming back from injury. LeBron, 20th anniversary of his debut last night, and it was also against Sacramento. He, at 38 years old, had 27 points, 15 rebounds, 8 assists. What a bum. Kings won in overtime by 5. And, I mean, Brian Blaney won in Martinsville again. And because of it, he made the playoffs. Blaney, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and William Byron will race for the championship next week in Phoenix.
Ooh, that's selling some seats.
Yeah. Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, William Byron. Not Truex, not Denny Hamlin, never mind all the others. Hamlin, by the way, was the one that just got edged out of the final playoff spot. Eric Amarola from the Tampa area, he announced he will not return to Stewart-Haas Racing next year. His career could be over in a week. And at 8 minutes before the hour, that was
the Starting Five every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
Harden didn't play again for the Sixers.
Getting that load management out of the way now.
Listen, Embiid doesn't sound like he wants him.
You?
Embiid and Tyrese Maxey seem to have a little thing going. I'm not so sure the big fellow wants the beard. Just saying.
See if they can ever get him moved to the Clippers, because that's where he wants to go. Miller and Moulton. Gary Danielson to talk college football. That's next. Chris Landry in a little more than an hour right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence. to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Okay.
Just so you have it.
Gotcha.
You know,
It
so
is
when you
fun.
do,
There you go. Thank you. If I had that info last night, I would have sent him that text when he was like driving past. Well, he was probably broken down in Tampa, right?
right.
Well, Saquon said it was his fault. Saquon said he should have gotten the first down.
Yeah, leave it off.
We are back in 15 seconds.
I'm assuming we have Gary.
We do.
Okay.
You You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. I come at you from Detroit. Monday Night Football in the Motor City tonight. Lions, 7.5-point favorites over the Raiders. Mark in the cozy confines of the 239. And Gary Danielson, kind enough to join us once again. He of CBS Sports. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hi, guys.
Hey, before we get to Georgia and some other things, so talk to Gator fans today. Okay, what'd you see? What do you see when you look at them?
How about a 3-quarter built house? I mean, they're a decent football team. They've got, good players at different spots, but, they just don't have the whole structure put together yet. And when they face teams of a similar, build, athletes that are about their size, the Mertzes and the Pearsalls and Wilsons, and they're good enough to win games. But when they face, the extremely talented teams that have a 5-6 year head start, it's tough to match up. I mean, we've all done this in sports, I guess. If you play sports, you're eventually going to face a team that has better talent than you. And if things don't go absolutely perfect the whole game, you can get embarrassed. And that seemed to be what happened in this game. There was a sack, Mark, how David helps me with spotting and through the games. I spend most of my week watching tape and thinking of storylines that I want to talk about and matchups in the game, assuming we're going to have a close, tight game. And I put my board together myself. I always have. And I've got the front four for Georgia with 13 names on my board in the front four. David, right?
Yep.
You know where I'm headed with this.
I know exactly where you're headed.
Okay, so I've got 13 names, and I've got 5 names for 2 inside linebacker spots. So I think I'm okay. Maybe in blowout time when it gets real late in the game, there might be some guys as they empty the bench because about 70 to 73 or 3 players can travel. There might be a guy that we have to look on the sheet to find who makes a play late in the game. But in the key part of the game, all of a sudden, Damon Wilson, number 35, a true freshman linebacker, comes in and makes a big sack in the game. And I'm looking around like, is that a guy from the off? I'm starting to turn my board over and say, did they put somebody in running back? And that's a 5-star who halfway through the season has been practicing hard and through the bye week has found out that Georgia has edge rushers that could be put in the game, maybe not to play every down, but in key situations can rush the passer and make a sack. And that's the type of talent that Florida just doesn't have right now. They've got good players. The program is built the same. The coaching is just as hard. Billy Napier reached for a call maybe that he shouldn't have, but I think Billy Napier, when he watches the tape, goes, I got to figure out a way to steal a touchdown here, or I have, overtime, I can't beat these guys. And did he go too far on 4th and inches? Yeah, I obviously. Had it worked, we'd all be saying, that's what you got to steal when you don't have the best team. So Florida has to get better talent. Watching that game, you start to think, like, who can beat Georgia? LSU can score points. They've got an elite offense. Alabama probably matches up in talent. Texas, Michigan, Ohio State. Are there 8 teams that can beat Georgia? Maybe, but right now Florida is not one of those teams.
You know, it was interesting, Gary. I got caught watching a bunch of the shows before the game and in early morning and even Friday night, and everybody's talking about the team as the college football rankings are going to come out, the playoff rankings are going to come out tomorrow, and everybody said, who's got something to prove? And it was Georgia over and over again. They've not done anything. How impressed were you, or how surprised, really? Because I saw you put your graphic up of the guys that had to come in and replace or try to replace Bowers. How surprised were you that they could pull it off?
I wasn't surprised, but I was curious to see how they did it, and they did it by trusting Carson Beck to run an offense to spread the ball around, and this just did. I mean, Carson Beck is really a good quarterback. I mean, not a huge surprise. You don't get recruited by Georgia, Alabama, Florida at quarterback if you're not an elite level player. But we all know how these fan bases look at their team when they're in the hunt for the national championship. Everybody is kind of talking, come on, Georgia fans, ease up here. Quit trying to look for the one crack. But isn't that what you do when your team's ready to win a national championship? You start to think of what could possibly keep us from winning the championship. And everybody said, well, we got to replace Stetson Bennett. I mean, will Carson Beck be good enough? Well, he is good enough. And I will get to this, I think, in a few more weeks, and I'll tell it to you guys, and I'm sure it'll go out. But the other person that Georgia fans worried about was replacing Todd Monken. And I'm telling you, nobody's doing a better job. I mean, you might have to look at Mike Bobo being the National Assistant Coach of the Year for the job he's done, replacing, as I talked about in the game, because of injuries and players transferring and players going into the draft and leaving the school. 11 key contributors left this team from a year ago, and Mike Bobo has them humming as well as thing. I mean, forget who they played, just the way he sequencing calls and using his entire team. Mike Bobo's doing a great job.
Run pass ratio is ideal, throwing nearly half the time on first down. He's kept defenses, particularly as the season has gone on, more and more off base. Is Gary Danielson?
The talk about their secondary being a weak spot, we all know this. If you can throw the ball, you can move the ball on anyone, even elite teams. Yes, you're going to be able to complete passes. It's hard to cover a guy one-on-one, okay, no matter what. This Georgia secondary, they have three really good safeties. They're no worse than they were last year in the secondary. I mean, they're at an even par. I mean, there's no real drop-off in the secondary from a year ago. Yes, a good passing team will complete passes and score points, but that's college football, the way the offense has the advantage.
Gary, I was going to ask you, you had Dion publicly come out and just say, well, we got to get better offensive linemen. Pat Narduzzi, who's probably the opposite of Dion, right? He came out and basically said, well, we lost a lot of talent. What do you expect? And his team wasn't really happy with that. Is that something that a coach can say publicly these days? I mean, the rules are a little different today. Talent moves around a lot more freely. Is it okay for coaches to just say, well, I lost a lot of talent, or I got to get new players?
The coaches that I've been involved with always preach to us that if you're going to complain within the building. Okay, let's hear what you got to say within the building. And he would always say, I will do the same. You won't hear me signaling out players. But I was listening to a national podcast, and the two well-known guys, and they were talking about how it seems different now, that there's more levels of criticism than and they talked about that they didn't remember, Southern Cal, people talking about every nook and cranny of the team, what's wrong with this. And it's just, I think, the advancement of social media that these coaches feel like a barrage of criticism is coming from every angle. And whether they say they don't listen or not, every question is pointed. There seems to be a avalanche of once one topic starts, it just seems like everybody grabs it. Every press conference talks about it. And I just feel like these coaches nowadays are under siege also. And I think sometimes they go a little bit too far. I would prefer they don't do it, but we understand. You get in front of that microphone, everybody wants to know why. Why? You know, I mean, I saw Lincoln Riley going through the same thing. What are you going to do? You're going to fire your coach. You know, well, you got to get a better defense. And he goes, yeah, I get all that, you know, but right now it's not time to deal with that. So I try to have an understanding that, you know, these head coaches seem like gods in college football, but they're people just like you and I, and they're dealing with the criticism the same way we all do when we get criticized. Well,
and we have no patience, Gary, and there's the elite I mean, we've talked about this a million times. The elite programs are who they are. It's tough in a moment's notice to go from being the 25th program to being the third program in the fan bases, and now the administrations don't have the patience.
Right, and then the worry from let's just take it now from the Gator fan. The worry of the Gator fan is, okay, we understand things are going, and Billy Napier's winning recruiting battles, but is he to the level of Kirby and Nick Saban, and that once we get there, is he the right guy? Do we have? So it's college football. It's pro football. I mean, you know, we go through the same thing. I remember the last draft, 2 drafts ago, maybe somebody was asking me about, you know, well, it was last draft, Will Levis, you know, is he good enough? And I go, he can be. If he has the right team around him, he's got all the stuff that you want in a quarterback. He's 235 pounds. He's got a great release. I don't know. He's got to have that last gear, and it becomes just a constant, you know, zeroing in on one thing or another. But hey, until they get there, until they do it, you never really know, I guess.
He's Gary Danielson, part of the SEC on CBS. CBS has a double header of SEC action this Saturday. They'll have Georgia, Missouri. What?
3 games.
Triple header.
No. Wait, 3 SEC games?
No, well,
right.
CBS. Oh.
Right. I said they'll have an SEC double header. Right.
Mark, you know the worst thing to do? Go 3.5 hours in the car with David, because he's always right in everything. When you say something, he's always one step ahead of you all the time.
Well, that's why we love him. Miller and Moulton, thanks, Gary. Have a great day. Florida Sports Network.
Thank you, guys.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Oh, there's no doubt, Sonny, that Burrow looked, he looked healthy. The way he was moving around.
David, who wins that division? I know you said Steelers before the season, right?
Yeah, that was my surprise pick.
It's not a bad pick because I think it's the best
Baltimore.
division in football.
Baltimore's going to be tough.
Mr. Butte, here's the thing. Okay, how many good teams are there? The Dolphins are 6-2. Well, that beat a team with a winning record. Well, okay. Before the season started, if you looked at the teams in the AFC East and looked at the schedules that they had to play, it was like voted, based on last year's winning percentage, top 8 in the league. And, there aren't a lot of, and there's 9 teams with a winning record in the AFC. But 4 of them were 4-3. Only 6 teams with a winning record in the NFC.
It'll just save you a ton of time tomorrow. Because Tom, the program director, is not back till tomorrow after the show. So
Appreciate it.
He's a sharp tack. I'm a bad person.
no, not really.
Yes. Oh, can I get a Tim Hortons coffee? Great. I mean, I don't drink coffee, but okay.
But you could get a Coney dog today. You can go to Lafayette.
I had 2 yesterday.
Where'd you go?
Oh, I got them in the casino. They got a place. So, while we were waiting for Lomas Brown, I said, I'm hungry. You hungry? He said, yeah. By the way, has the NFL Network ever had a bigger game than
No.
the one they're going to have Sunday?
No.
I mean,
and I'm raising my hand and telling my wife that I'm not doing church. Oh no.
Now I will. Now I will say this: it's daylight savings. Everybody gets an extra hour of sleep before the 9:30 kickoff. You just realize you got to go, don't you? NFL Network did, I believe, when the Patriots were unbeaten. I think the final regular season game against the Giants was on the NFL Network.
Back in a couple seconds.
I could be wrong, but I thought so.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for being with us. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry of Landry Football at the top of the hour. Lomas Brown for the first time ever. He's in the Gators Sports Hall of Fame. He's getting honored by the Lions tonight. They're going to put him in their Ring of Honor there. All-time great. He's on the all-time Lions team as left tackle. So he's coming on the show. He's part of the Lions Broadcasting Network. They're playing tonight. I'm in Detroit. I thought it was a good get.
Lions Football Network. We've never had anybody from the Lions Football Network on the show. You know why? There's not been a need to put anybody from the Lions Football Network on this show.
You're right. Very good friend of Gary Danielson, by the way, Rob Rubik. Maybe later on in the year, I know we can get him on, so we can get him to tell his Lawrence Taylor story during the strike. Trying to think if Gary told that story on the air or off when he was in studio with us one day back in the day. But Dolphins are 6-2. The Jags are 6-2. There's a 4-way tie, if you will, for the 1 seed in the AFC. All the division leaders are 6-2. Yeah. But the trade deadline's tomorrow. And I just wonder, Mark, based on what we saw yesterday, like I'm going to ask you a point-blank question. Can the Chiefs get it done without getting a wide receiver?
I don't know. And I've thought that for a while, but the reason I would say lean yes is that defense is for real. Even yesterday with all the turnovers, they have a legit defense for the first time during this run. You could point to the other side of the ball and say, when in doubt, that side can help you win football games.
Mark, quite frankly, we might be able to make the case, despite the fact that Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback on offense, that the defense may be better. It may be. I mean, Denver got to 24, 5 turnovers, and one of them was a turnover on downs late where they gave it up on like the 15-yard line and there was a late field goal. I mean, the Chiefs' defense yesterday was outstanding. I mean, the Broncos threw for 87 yards yesterday. But I don't know if the Chiefs, because when we think about what it is you're going to be facing, not to win the AFC West, but to win, remember, Mark, now there's no guarantee they're going to get the bye. They've always had a bye here. They haven't had to play 3 playoff games to get to the Super Bowl. They've had the bye. They ain't going to have the bye now. Maybe. So what if they have to win 3 playoff games? What if they have to go on the road? Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game. Can that offense go on the road and win one? I mean, Mark, if you're the 3 seed, you could be a really good team. If you're the 3 seed, in theory, you get 1 home game, 2 road games. You could be a 12-5 team and have to play 2 road games. If you're running the Chiefs right now, I mean, guy who's playing for the Raiders tonight, I doubt they deal in the division. How about the guy who caught 3 touchdowns in Nashville yesterday?
That's where I would be talking to Tennessee if I were the Minnesota Vikings. I would be doing it if I were the Chiefs. I think they are ripe for the picking. I would be, even, there's been a lot of talk, even though they said they're not going to trade Derrick Henry. That's what they said last week. A lot can happen between last week and the trade deadline. Might make an offer they can't refuse. You know what I mean.
And he just happened to throw a 100-yard game on the board yesterday. So I'm just, asking some hard questions. Mahomes was not good yesterday. He was under a lot of duress. He also had to take an IV in the morning with the flu just to play in the game. I was pretty hard on Brock Purdy in the first hour, saying he's starting to look like Mr. Irrelevant. Okay, I don't know that Brock Purdy should have been playing yesterday. He's the first player this year to play on Sunday when earlier in that same week he had been placed in the concussion protocol.
And is there a position that you think you need your brain more than to play quarterback?
And he took a lot of hard hits during the game. There was a part, late third, early fourth, I'm like, you sure you shouldn't put Sam Darnold in to finish this thing off? He doesn't look right. But, just wondering here. Deadline's 4:00 tomorrow. This is it. This is it, unless you're signing guys off their couch or counting on teams to release certain guys. Let's do some quick math here. You got about 32 and a half hours. And Mark, you and I are hockey guys. And all you have to do is look at this World Series, by the way. The Diamondbacks made 2 acquisitions. They got Tommy Pham from the Mets, and they got Sewald, the closer, from the Mariners. How's that working out? 4 teams is 6-2. Not a whole lot of separation. Never mind Cincinnati coming hard on the outside. What if Buffalo gets their act together? It's the AFC.
Yeah, not everybody had a Jalen Ramsey that they were bringing in off the IR.
Right. So just wondering, should certain teams maybe make certain deals? How long is this Super Bowl window for the Chiefs? Kelsey turns 34. He and his brother 3 days ago were openly talking about retiring sooner than later. I know you have Mahomes. Hey, Dan Marino played on a few mediocre teams too. If the talent around you is not any good, it's not any good. How long do we know this Super Bowl window's open for in Kansas City? You sure you don't give up a plum draft pick if you can get a Mike Evans to the Chiefs? Hello.
How different would that make that team?
Woo. And yeah, if you're Tampa, you start off by asking for a first-round pick because at best it's going to be 29.
And maybe you could get a 2 and a 3 out of him. Maybe you don't get the 1, but maybe you could get a 2 and a 3, like we talked about in the same draft year. You're trying to retool your team. You're not good enough.
So just wondering. Tennessee, Tampa Bay, the Raiders after tonight. There's a few the Giants. There's a few teams out there who got some parts, and they're not going anywhere. Do you give up some of your parts?
And do the Vikings become someone now? If they can't get a quarterback, do they have to be a seller?
Do you know what that would do to the locker room? You win 4 out of 5, and you trade Danielle Hunter? Oh, my goodness.
You just lost a quarterback for the year.
I know. They got to go get one. They got 32 and a half hours. And I'm not talking about signing Matt Ryan out of the broadcast booth or Carson Wentz to cut him from stopping to hunt in Montana or wherever he is. No. You call the Rams about Stafford. You call the Titans about Tannehill. You call the Saints about Jameis. No. We're serious here. Honestly, Kyler Wilson, Russell Wilson, how aggressive you want to be here? Because Justin Fields. Come on now. It's possible. Don't think it's not possible. It's 2023. Anything's possible. Miller and Moulton. Chris Landry in a half an hour. Thanks so much for listening, Florida Sports Network.
Specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Someone asked before, I'm staying at the Westin in downtown Detroit, about a half mile, I think, from Ford Field. No, Sonny, that's what we hinted at. We didn't think they would trade Devontae in the division, but, you know, Belichick would. If you pay the price, he'll trade you. Yeah, and kind of relief because the GM and the coach in Arizona weren't the one that a year ago made the Hollywood Brown trade. So anything's possible.
Well, I thought you were right on that whole wash. I mean, Washington played them tough again, but as that game was going, I'm like, look at that. They're going to get them again.
Jalen Hurts is good. Jalen Hurts, if you had seen him 6 years ago when he couldn't throw the ball in the middle of the field, honestly, he couldn't. Lane Kiffin would not call a play for him in between the numbers. Forget the hash marks, the numbers. Half his passes were at or behind the line of scrimmage. The throws downfield were all to the numbers to the sidelines.
Is that Lincoln Riley?
I do think that's part of it. And the rest hurts, but Fam, we've brought it all up. Fields, Murray. I don't think anybody would trade for Russell Wilson, but
the other thing is they say O'Connell's offense is really hard to really complex. I mean, that's, anybody coming in is really behind the eight ball for this. This is not an easy offense to go learn.
it shouldn't be Canada relief. While he's out injured, they should sign him to an extension. But I think so. By the way, could this be lining up for the Lions any better? The Packers are 2-5, the Bears are 2-6, and Kirk Cousins is out for the year for the Vikings. I mean,
you're making me nervous, David.
Come on, Trent. If they don't win the division this year, they should fold the franchise.
No, I'm actually completely kidding. I'm the guy who believes 100%. I mean,
they should be a 2 seed. And I'm not joking. Now with this, they should be a 2 seed.
Because the Niners are losing games now too. So if you can take advantage of that.
Canada relief, when they beat Green Bay, I think we declared the division over. We put the X next to them.
I remember. I remember. That was
ago.
a great show you guys did that morning.
No, this baby's over.
Back in 10.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
"22 before the hour. Chris Landry joins us at the top of the hour. Lomas Brown, former Gators standout. That was a while ago. But after an 18-year NFL career, he's part of the Lions Radio Network. And Lomas scheduled to join us for the first time 1 hour from now. I come at you from Detroit, the site of Monday Night Football. Lions, solid favorites. 7.5 is the number as of this morning. I suspect it could get back up to 8 against the Raiders. Detroit looking to have the second best record in the NFC after tonight. How about that?
There's somebody that's a part of the show that picked the Lions to be the 1 seed in the NFC and the Jags to be the 1 seed in the AFC.
I know. And after that, he hasn't been able to pick a thing right. My goodness.
But the Jags tied for the best record in the AFC, and the Lions would be a game behind the Eagles if they can take care of business tonight. In a division that got a lot easier yesterday.
Wow.
Those 2 games that they had with the Vikings late in the season became a lot easier.
And we asked it an hour ago, who should the Vikings go get? And if you say, oh, well, they should just stand pat. Jaron Hall finished the game yesterday. Sean Mannion's on the practice squad. Nick Mullins is on the injured list. He's eligible to be activated in a couple weeks. Jaron Hall, Sean Mannion, Nick Mullins. Does that sound like a quarterback leading a team to the playoffs? Because the Vikings are the 7th seed today. They've won 4 of 5. They're 4-4. They have a very good conference record at 4-2. Right now, they have the right combination, if you know what I mean, if they post a 9-8 record. And they will get Justin Jefferson back in a few weeks. I mean, this could be it's kind of like Mark the Jets if they sneak in as the 7. Jets ain't going on a run. But for one game, that defense could beat anybody. They can't win 3 in a row. Their quarterback sucks too badly. But that defense could beat anybody once. If you can't cover Justin Jefferson, you can't cover Justin Jefferson. And that's a problem. Just saying. But can we switch gears and go back to Saturdays?
Yeah.
So it's all set. This is it. We got Georgia. We got Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, Washington. 5 major unbeatens. Yeah, I know we got Air Force and Liberty and James Madison, but we got
Whatever.
We got 5 major unbeatens, and Michigan, Ohio State are going to play each other.
You're right.
So there you go. It's done, right?
Well, we all know it doesn't work out that way.
No, it never works out that way.
It never works out that way.
No.
Oregon's sitting there right now going, we keep going, we're getting another shot at Washington. And I don't know if you're aware, but we didn't play that good the first time. We're going to get them on a neutral field, and we think we can beat them if we play them again. That's all we're saying.
How about Texas sitting there with their hand raised going, if we run the table, that's 12-1 with a win in Tuscaloosa. And the one loss, we turned it over. We were -3 in turnovers, and we lost with 20 seconds to go to Oklahoma on a neutral field. So, never mind if, some other craziness takes over. What if somebody actually beats Georgia? What if they do it before Atlanta? What if they do it in Atlanta? But
you could end up with that whole Big Ten sitting there with one loss. It is possible.
It's
possible.
Michigan. It's possible. Then again, we don't know. Could something happen with, Michigan? They seem to have cheated. Every now and then, a sport doesn't like that. Every now and then.
The 2032 Michigan Wolverines are in big trouble, David. Big trouble.
What was Tarkanian's line back in the day? It was something about Kentucky had screwed up, and he said something to the effect of, man, if Kentucky does anything more, okay, man, they are really going to pound Middle Tennessee State. It was something like that kind of a quote. And so you're right, Mark. The 2028 Wolverines are definitely going to be ineligible for a bowl. I don't think there's any question about it.
Could be scholarship limitations. It could get really ugly between 2028 and 2030 in Ann Arbor, but I don't see a damn thing happening this year.
But, so that's where we are. The first college football playoff committee polls coming out tomorrow.
For the record, I would have Ohio State ranked 1.
Okay, that's fair. Won at Notre Dame, beat Penn State. There are some. How about Florida State? Have they done enough?
They would be 2.
And also, this goes back to, do we look at Florida State and go, the win at Clemson? Well, that's now a 4-4 Clemson. Yeah, it wasn't when they played them. That's the other thing. When how do you – I view a win or a loss at the time. I don't like to then say at the end, well, that team ended up 7-5. Yeah, well, when we played them, they were 5-1. I don't know what to tell you.
I do a little of both. It depends on the team, because sometimes you get a team and they could have had injuries, but they still went on the road and have won big games. And Michigan and Georgia are yet to. They will.
Let me ask you this. Unless it's Alabama who's running the table and they're facing 11-1 Alabama, will Georgia get credit for any of their wins, if you know what I mean? Like, let's just say LSU beats Bama, or Bama beats LSU but loses the Iron Bowl. So it's a 10-2, clearly flawed, not to the level they've been recently, Alabama. So if Georgia takes care of them, think about it. Georgia at Florida, all right. They're going to play Missouri.
They're
Looks
a
great on
16.5-point favorite against Missouri.
Right. Say that again.
16.5.
Right.
I was surprised when I saw the number that large, because I actually think Missouri's a pretty decent football team. I think they're right now better than Florida. But whatever.
And they're ranked to the top 15 in the country, and they're nearly a 17-point dog. then Ole Miss, another top 15 team in the country, is going to come to town. Ole Miss's only loss is at Alabama. And they're going to be a 2-touchdown dog when they show up in Athens. And then Georgia's going to have to go to Tennessee. Well, how much credit are we giving Tennessee? They did go to Kentucky and win Saturday night. Their 2 losses are, at Florida. Doesn't look so good now. Even though they just don't win there. 20 years, they don't win there. They're the U.S. on the road in the Ryder Cup. It's a loss. Just write it down, move on. And they lost at Alabama. And what's worse is they didn't cover after having a 13-point halftime lead. Don't get Miller Moulton started. Or Lee Sterling. Oh, damn. That was a game of the week pick. Whew. But you know what I mean. Is Georgia going to get any credit this year? They're going to be 13-0 in the playoff, and the people are going to be going, hell, they didn't beat anybody.
Hell, they weren't even getting credit before because they were not only just winning, they weren't covering. They had a bad record against the number. That's why literally everybody out there thought Georgia had the most to prove Saturday in the games that they played. When it's Oklahoma, that had to go on the road and play a ranked team and lost.
Is the Pac-12 going to get shut out? If Washington doesn't run the table, is that what's going to happen here?
Well, David, let me just ask you this question. 12-1 Oregon, 12-1 Texas. Who goes?
Texas.
You got that right.
They shouldn't.
But they're going to go.
But they're going to go. And it's going to be the win over Alabama. If you're a Texas fan, you want Alabama to please get to Atlanta 11-1. Please. Please. Because if your only losses are to us and to Georgia, we can make that case.
12-1 Oregon, 12-1 Oklahoma.
Oh, Oregon.
Yeah.
Oregon.
I
Oklahoma
agree.
played nobody. The conference is so much better.
Well, but there are paths for the Pac-12 to get there. And Florida State has to run the table.
Yeah, that will be interesting.
Florida State has to run the table.
If you're a Florida State fan, do you need Florida to pick themselves up here? Do you not need to be playing a 6-4 Gators, if you know what I mean?
It doesn't matter. They have to run the table and they get in. Anything less than that, they are not getting in.
Really? Remember they play. LSU on a neutral field. That's a really good win.
12-1 Oregon, 12-1 Florida State. Name where the Florida State loss is.
Well, let's see.
They lose to the Gators. Rivalry game gets the Gators to 8.
No, it'd be bad. It would be bad. It would timing. Yeah, they probably can't afford a loss, unfortunately, because you could argue that, what's Oregon's non-conference win that compares to beating LSU? That's why, by the way, if you're a Florida State fan, you want LSU to beat Alabama Saturday. You want LSU to do it again. Beat Bama. You don't care if they get to the SEC title game with 2 or 3 losses. You just want them in Atlanta.
So I think it's going to be really difficult for Florida State with any loss to get to the college football playoff. And I know Florida State fan doesn't want to hear that, but I think they've got to run the table to get in.
Well, the other thing that's not helping Florida State is their conference is kind of falling apart on them here.
Exactly.
Clemson's 4-4. Miami's pretty damn shaky. They've gotten 2 wins these last 2 weeks, but
it's 5th.
You put it behind the Big 12?
Yes.
Really?
Because they have an Oklahoma and a Texas.
Yeah, I guess. North Carolina's lost back-to-back games here.
And
Louisville's going. That's who Florida State's going to play too. Louisville is right now 2nd place in the conference. And Mario Cristobal, they'd be in 2nd place if he'd taken a knee. Golly. How big would that Florida State Miami game be if he had just taken a
Taking a
damn
knee.
knee? But so just, kicking around. Sure enough, here we are. We're down to 5 major unbeatens. 2 of them are in the same conference and they play each other coming up. So we're really down to 4. And so you know what's going to happen. One of those 4 is going to lose. And okay, good. Now we get the 1-loss teams in. All right. This gets fun.
This will get very interesting if one of those teams with the donut ends up with a 1, David.
And what if Bama wins out, including beating Georgia and Atlanta? Is the SEC, which is not that good this year. I could argue they're the 3rd best conference. All right. I'm not saying it. I said I could argue it. Would they then get 2? Would they get none? I cracked myself up.
Would they get none?
That's
cute.
Just saying. Just saying. I mean, how can you keep Georgia out, right? 1 regular season loss in 3 years, the 2-time defending champions. But then again, how can you put them in ahead of Alabama? So then we got to you're going to split that hair? Or are you just going to put them both in? At the expense of who? What, Texas? Doesn't Texas go ahead of both? If they run the table? I'm just saying.
A lot of strange things could happen between now and then. A lot of strange things. And they usually do. We haven't even hit November yet.
No.
Now it starts to get interesting.
We haven't even brought up the whole Michigan thing. What if the Tony Petitti and the Big Ten decide to
stop it?
Yeah, okay. All right. Okay.
That's what's going to happen. Tony Petitti and the Big Ten are going to come in and say the Big Ten's ineligible for the Big Ten championship game.
No, they're not. They're just going to say only Ohio State's eligible. By the way, they're the number 1 television draw in the sport, ESPN. Do you want them?
We'll break the film down with Chris Landry because that's what he does. He's next on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6 and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A a team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Hi, Chris.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Great.
So just how far are the Gators behind the Dogs?
Oh, way behind. I tell folks, whether it's Billy or anybody that builds that program slowly, 3-4 years from now, you're not going to catch Georgia unless Georgia comes back to the pack a little bit. It's kind of like when Spurrier, or to some degree when Urban was there. Like when Spurrier was there, Tennessee had a really good program under Philip Fulmer, but they weren't Florida. And I think that's where they are. It's not an easy thing for Florida fans to hear or accept, I know, but it's not just about Florida. It's about how good Georgia is. So the gap is just huge, just really, really huge at this point.
How much Clemson have you looked at?
Enough, it's
well, because I want to ask you then on air.
Okay.
And we're going to make you the GM of the Vikings.
Okay.
Seriously.
Okay. That's tough. I've never been injured. And I remember that I was with the Browns. Remember when Marino was the most durable guy ever, never injured, and we were playing him on Monday night. I think he tore his Achilles.
Untouched at midfield, right?
Yes, I think it was his Achilles. It wasn't his Achilles. At Achilles, man. Oh, it's just. It
was 93.
Yep.
Did you enjoy that documentary they did on? It was like the 95 Browns, but it also went into the staff that you were a part of.
Oh yeah. I just left. Yeah, but no. So all of that is funny because the footage. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember, I remember.
But also there were like 6-7 head coaches, a couple general managers. I mean, on that staff.
Yeah, no, it's he had a lot of good people there. No question about it. And some others that really they didn't even make the conversation. But a lot of good coaches, a lot of good people there.
Yeah, boy. Condo problems, Mark. Every day, every day something's not working. And the other day, wires literally appeared. They popped out from behind a wall. Electrical wires. Right.
Coming back here in a sec.
Good times.
listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
And the third and final hour of Miller and Moulton, at least along the network. The Diamond District bonus hour is 1 hour away in the 239. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Chris Landry, kind enough to join us at this day and time throughout the football season. You can see Chris if you take in the show via Twitch, twitch.tv/Miller and Moulton. Follow Chris on Twix, Twitter/X at Landry Football, and go to LandryFootball.com. If you are into football, it is a great source of information. Good morning. How are you?
Doing good. Happy football Monday for you guys.
All right. We're making you the GM of the Vikings. What do you do?
Well, I'm gonna certainly look to sign someone. I don't know that all the quote unquote trade talk is realistic. Although I'm
Why
gonna
not?
explore everything. Well, it just depends on what the cost is. I don't know that I've got to assess what are my chances. Am I going to mortgage the future? What's my situation? How stable I am? What is my owner telling me about the future? So you got to look at all of it.
Fourth round pick for Tannehill. Would you do it?
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, I think I would do that. I would certainly look at Keenum, who's been there before, been in the system. I would look at Colt McCoy, who's been in this system. I think that this is a very centric. The head coach, it's a big system fit. Unlike some others where it's a little bit more plug in a guy and let it go. It's so much relying on Kirk Cousins, so much relying on the system that I think having somebody that has some experience in the system is where they need to go to at least keep themselves afloat. But I wouldn't, go crazy on giving up a first or second round pick to try to rattle and see if because I think the reality is we're not a team that's going to be a deep Super Bowl, run type. But I would certainly consider absolutely a fourth round pick. I might even go with a conditional third for the right guy.
But you wouldn't go after a Stafford, let's say, that would cost you a second or a first. You don't think that's if he's even available?
I don't think he's going to be available, and no, I would not do that. I don't think that's kind of mortgaging your future for somebody that's not going to have a great future with you, maybe beyond another year. I don't. To me, that's not very prudent.
How many years are the Gators behind the Dogs in terms of talent?
Well, several years. And so let's just say they have great top 5 recruiting classes for the next 3-4 years. They're still going to be behind Georgia, but at least it's a fair fight. It's competitive. Florida's got some players. They just don't have nearly as many as Georgia. Georgia is the best program in the country because they're not only talented, but they're well coached. And that's just the fact of where they are. It's as we were talking before we came on, Florida could do all the right things with the perfect coach, whomever that is, whether they have them or not. And, in 5 years from now, they're still going to be behind Georgia. Not to mean that they can't beat them, but once every 5 years, it's Georgia's world. Georgia's going to have to come back to the pack because, Florida is maybe at the first furlong and Georgia's secretariat down the stretch. You're not catching them except for maybe a year or two here and there.
Was that really what was on display Saturday? Brock Bowers out, and you just look at what else Georgia has, and you realize that everybody thought, oh, Brock Bowers is out, Georgia's vulnerable, and they put a beat down on Florida.
Yeah, they've got a lot of weapons. Now, if they get Bowers back, so much of their offense runs through him, they can take it to a different dimension. Let that think in, Gator fans, what it could have been. But, yeah, they've got weapons. They can throw the football. And the quarterback, here's the thing about it. They don't need the quarterback to play hero ball. In fact, that's the reason why people say Georgia sleepwalks, and they do to some games. But what they do is they play very vanilla, and they try to see what you do, and they don't want to do anything foolish. So you can kind of work the ball underneath defensively for a quarter or so maybe, and then offensively, they're going to run the football. They're going to not put the ball in harm's way. So it looks like, well, they're not quote-unquote dominant. They're dominant. And when they want to turn it on, like Saturday, like against TCU, I mean, they can explode on you. Just depends on what you have and how they decide to tear you apart.
Talking football with Chris Landry, LandryFootball.com. Follow him on Twix, Twitter/X @LandryFootball. Is this a down year for Clemson, or when you look at them, do you go, oh, they ain't Clemson anymore?
Well, they're not Clemson anymore, and they haven't been Clemson for a couple of years. But this is a down year compared to what has been kind of an off year the past couple of years. And it really comes down to this. Every coach's staff's important. But when you're kind of more figurehead head coach, when you're not a strong X's and O guy, the best head coaches coach the coaches. When your head coach is not a strong football guy, he's a recruiter, he's a culture builder, and that's great. When you lose your staff, it's a problem. How many guys we've seen Georgia lose Dan Lanning? It's not going to kill them. We've seen Nick Saban lose. We could go through, 2 hours of guys they've lost. Dabo loses Brent Venables, loses a Jeff Scott, a Tony Elliott. He's got to hit the jackpot in finding the next guy because those guys coach the team. Dabo's not a strong X's and O guy. And then when you have some of the attitudes that he has about transfer portal and whatnot, now the talent is not as elite. But you look at that defense, they don't scare anybody anymore. And their offense has been discombobulated for a few years. You put that combination together, and they are, wait for it, last in the ACC. Let that sink in. Last. That's a bad year on top of a program that's struggling in recent years.
Wow. That is one to sink in, and Florida State has been right there to pick up the pieces. But when you look, I want to go out west, and you look at, when I look back at Oregon and what they did to Utah, I thought that game was going to be a better game than that. I thought the fact that Utah at the line of scrimmage is so tough that it's tough to blow them out. I watched that game and went, how the hell did they lose to Washington?
Yeah, it was one of those games, got obviously on the road, Washington, so explosive on offense. And again, what do I always talk about? Kind of these great offensive teams. Washington's kind of winning games, but their offense is not as sharp, and therefore they don't look as good. Oregon's the best team in the Pac-12. They're the most complete team. And, if you're Utah, you can go in and you can just bully a team like USC because they're soft and they're not good defensively. You're not going to bully Oregon. Oregon, in addition to being physical at the line of scrimmage, they've got a quarterback that's playing at an elite level. They've got weapons. Oregon is the most complete team in the Pac-12, and I'm not sure that they may not be as good a team as there is in the country right now. They're certainly one of the top 4 in my view. I'm not saying they're going to be ranked that way as a one-loss team, but let's see at season's end if they can finish. Still got some tough games. Oregon State's tough. They've still got some roadblocks. That Pac-12 is really good top to bottom, but I think this Oregon team's really good, and if they get into the playoffs healthier, it might be a little different. Michigan, Georgia, really good. Oregon, I think, is in that class.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Georgia, Oregon, Dan Lanning against Kirby in a 1-4 matchup, say. Just throwing that out there. All right. Did the Broncos do the Chiefs a favor yesterday? That the Chiefs need to go get a weapon on offense. All right. That they're not going to go to and win the Super Bowl with soon-to-be 34-year-old Travis Kelce and a bad wide receiving core.
Yeah, I think one thing you were talking about, hey, you're running the Vikings. So let's run the Chiefs for a second. There are 2 ways you get better, okay, as a football team in any level. You get better players or you get your players better. And so they have enough of a sample size to see how much rate of progression of that receiving core, that offense, whether it's going to be explosive enough, to your point. They have to make that assessment and obviously need to have made it already, and they need to see if they can't get somebody, if that's the direction they're going to go. I do think, and I thought that they will get better as the season goes along, but is it going to be good enough? The AFC's sort of interesting in it. It's like you got like 4 teams with the 5 wins, and then you've got Buffalo and Cincinnati, which I don't think anybody wants to play Cincinnati right now. It's a valid point. I think the right guys needed. I would make that move if I were them. I would not have, a couple of weeks ago because I thought there were time for it to develop. But I think the defense is ripe to go ahead and take them to that next level. They've got to get more explosiveness. I think they're going to need it come playoff time.
You know, with the Chiefs, I keep looking back at their defense of what it's doing and how good it is. I look at the same way with Jacksonville right now. I know it was Pittsburgh, and I know their offense is limited, but Jacksonville week in, week out has brought a defense that they didn't have a year ago, and it's tough to transform that. You know, to your point, you get better players or you get your players better. They did a little bit of both.
Yeah, they did, and they finished the season strong, and so everybody, wrongly thinks, well, you're just going to pick up the start of the season. You don't. You I think the season in the NFL, particularly with how you play, how you have to deal with the offseason and preseason, you really don't know what you have, and you kind of go through some stumbling blocks. I'm watching this Jacksonville team week in and week out. They're really good, and they're really in the mix of, I think, the few teams that can go to the Super Bowl. I'm not ready to just say that they're the favorite or anything. I don't believe that. I don't think there is one clearly, but they're really good defensively, and they've got a good young quarterback. And I think that quite frankly, that's a team that's got a good future, and I think the future's now, and I think they're in the mix. I like the way they're playing. And look, that to me, that team going to play, a Pittsburgh team that's not good offensively. It's rainy. It's kind of, they figure out a way to get it done. They play the Saints, kind of control them on Thursday. The Saints come back on them. They could have kind of blown that game. We could be talking about what's wrong with the Jags. They lost 2 games closely. They found a way to win. That, to me, is a young team that's growing up, not just a young team that has potential.
And Doug Peterson as head coach, I think you're seeing the dividends. All right, 20 seconds, your backyard. How much does LSU have for Bama?
Well, they've got an offense that's going to cause Bama's defense a lot of problems. It's going to be the most explosive offense they've played this year, more explosive than even Ole Miss, because the quarterback is better and more dynamic. So that's going to be key. I think the key, though, for LSU is they've got to find a way to get off the field against the run, because Alabama's going to try to shorten the game. They've got a shot. They've got a puncher shot because of their offense, but Alabama's certainly the likely favorite here.
He's Chris Landry, Landry Football, LandryFootball.com, and he joins us Mondays at 8 Eastern. Chris, as always, thank you.
Thank you, guys. Have a great week. Talk to you next week.
Chris Landry joining us here on Miller and Moulton. Lomas Brown to look ahead to Monday Night Football in 25 minutes here on the Florida Sports Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
You had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com. Located on the East Trail, locally owned Naples Tiki Bar and Grill is an outdoor eatery next to the Hitching Post Shopping Center. Island-inspired food with a true tiki theme. The best place in Naples to enjoy the beautiful weather in Southwest Florida. The Naples Tiki Bar and Grill offers a great menu for dine-in or takeout. Enjoy our famous pulled pork, huge burgers, and tiki bar cocktails. Don't miss happy hour every day from 3 to 6, and live music 7 days a week. See you soon at the Naples Tiki Bar and Grill, 11498 Tamiami Trail East.
Hello, friends and family of Southwest Florida. Are you looking to tap into the electric vehicle market? Well, look no further, because we here at Southwest Florida Golf Carts have just what you need. E-bikes, golf carts, LSVs, scooters, and more. Come down and talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
I'm going to lose again. I hate fantasy football. I'm down 5 going into the night. I've got Ahmad St. Brown, and he's got Josh Jacobs.
Fantasy football is so dumb.
Dumb.
And I hate people who have a good record and say they know about. I just know more football than you. No, you do not.
No.
You don't.
What's worse than that is the guys that play Madden and think they know what schemes the teams are running in real life. I have some friends like that, and it is the worst. Like, I don't know what scheme the Falcons. I'm like, you do not know what the Falcons. If it was that simple, all these coordinators would just be playing Madden all week.
Like, are you a coach?
Yeah, like
staff.
Yeah.
Michael, I was way too intimidated of my father to go out on Devil's Night and to take the chance of getting caught toilet papering people. You all right over there?
No. No. Mm-mm. No. They did something that I've never heard of being done before. You know, like if you're coming in and you're working on somebody's room and you have to take something down to do the project. Well, then don't you put back up what you took down?
Yeah.
Right. So there are numerous things which are just like either not there anymore or we're just taken down and kind of like, we'll just leave it here.
Hey, David, have you been to Campus Martius yet and seen where they're going to do the draft?
No.
They have, if you go down to Campus Martius, they have some of the 2024 draft stuff set up. Like on the street, they got like the street flags.
Okay. You need to slow down. When you go to...
Yeah, where?
Campus Martius.
Okay. Where is that?
What's that?
It's down Woodward.
Okay.
I don't know. That's just what they call it. It's like the little district, little section.
Gotcha.
All right,
Gotcha.
8 seconds, we're back.
You're in Detroit, David. He's excited.
Well, I know. And he speaks of Woodward as if I know where it is. And the only Woodward I know writes for the Washington Post.
Or did.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, Only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Thanks so much for listening. We appreciate it. Final Monday of October. Mischief night in certain parts of the country, Devil's night in others. And for some, it's just not a thing. They look at you like, what the heck are you talking about? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com.
I don't even know if my daughter has to go trick-or-treating tomorrow. There's already so much candy in our home. Because they do these trunk-or-treat things now.
Right.
The neighborhood had one. The school had one. The church had one. I've been to 3 trunk-or-treats already, and we're not even at Halloween.
Well, then Halloween's already done. I mean, isn't that like you getting Christmas if by chance you didn't wait for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day? You just decided, well, we're going to go here on the 21st and we're going to go here on the 22nd.
My daughter's gone old school. She goes right with the pillowcase. None of these little cutesy, little pumpkins that you're carrying around with not enough room to put candy in it. She's gone right to the old school pillowcase.
I went as a football player one year and used the helmet as where you put the candy. I had the shoulder pads, the uniform, and everything. Thigh pads, and just took the helmet off and said, here, put it in this.
Well, and with your head, that's a big helmet.
Exactly. I had more
Wait, but then
candy
you
in
can't
my...
put the helmet back on. Did you have eye black at least, so you dress up?
I did have eye black.
There you go.
As a matter of fact, I did. It's like 9, 10 years old. Yeah.
Were you a Giant player?
I was. Don't remember what number, though. Don't know if I had a number, but I had a Giant helmet, had the NY. I know that. And they were terrible, just like they are now. So,
Were you by chance yelling for them to defer in overtime when they won the toss? Were you?
Totally.
That was a bad coaching move in a game that had 20 some odd punts at that 20. Well, it had 23 at that point.
Right, that's true. The Giants had only punted 12 times at that point. Yes, with a third string quarterback who you're like, yeah, we're not going to let him throw the ball. He's terrible. Yeah, I would have punted. My best chance to win the game was to put my best unit on the field. Right.
What was the crowd split in that game? Was there a home field advantage for either?
Well, yeah, technically I believe it was a Giants home game. So there was no crowd split.
Okay.
Although, I mean, there were Jets fans that were there, but so, listen, there's a part of me that thinks they did the Jets a disservice by collapsing late and losing that game. Because now the Jets fan looks at their record and thinks that they're a legitimate playoff team. And they're not. They're a great defense. It might be the best defense in the league. It's great. It's clearly one of the 3 best defenses in the league. If I had to pick a defense right now to win a game with, I would pick the Jets. The offense, that quarterback's dreadful. He's dreadful.
But what's even more pathetic than what the Jets are doing on the offensive side of the ball is what the Steelers were doing, because that's their first string quarterback.
Right.
I mean, you can knock the Jets. The Jets are doing this with a backup quarterback. They're trying to give you the illusion that this guy can still be good one day, which is a disservice to their fans and all of those things. But what Pittsburgh's doing, David, is the same thing that the Jets are doing. And that's their first string quarterback, or was up until halftime before he got hurt. And Mitchell Trubisky came in and provided more of the same in the second half.
Do you know there was a team that took Mitchell Trubisky ahead of Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes once? They traded up for the 2nd overall pick of the draft to take him. Wow. Anyway. So there's no doubt about it, Mark. I mean, right now the Steelers would be in the playoffs. The old, the season, like the Bengals and the Jets are technically out right now. They're the 4-3 teams that, because of tiebreakers right now, are sitting on the outside. Pittsburgh and Cleveland are the 4-3 teams that are on the inside. Buffalo, despite everything, is the 5 seed. And they're a game behind the couple of, by the way, heavyweight AFC matchups coming up in a week. what? Bills, Bengals, obviously Dolphins, Chiefs. Hey, NFL Network 9:30. Condition yourself now. Make plans accordingly. Maybe you have to go to the 8 a.m. church service, okay?
We've been kind of waiting, David, for a week like this because you get the Dolphins, Chiefs, and then you get Seahawks, Ravens. That's a nice little 1 o'clock game that has a little bit of meaning to it. Then at 4:25, you get Cowboys and Eagles, and then you get the Bills and Bengals.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's a
there
day.
literally are 4 games at different time slots that you can really get into.
Absolutely. I'll say it again, though. NFL Network, 9:30 from Germany, Dolphins, Chiefs. Make plans accordingly. The good news, you get an extra hour sleep. It's daylight savings heading into Sunday. So if by chance it's a late Saturday for whatever reason, you get an extra hour. Gear up.
You know, when you get up at 4:30 by habit, that extra hour of sleep doesn't do you much good.
No, sorry. So you've lost the ability to roll over, have you?
Completely. Be up raring to go. It'll be 3 a.m.
No, it's a shame. That is a shame.
Time to watch some early Premier League.
Well, there is early Premier League. It's called the National Football League. And it's all damn day and night Sunday.
It really is, too. That is it's already fired up. But we've got more to get into. The Lions are taking on the Raiders. Monday Night Football. Lomas Brown will join us in around 10 minutes' time to discuss that as Detroit looks to further their lead in the NFC North.
Do you, if you're a Dolphin fan, do you feel bad that the Chiefs lost? Kind of like, oh, man, I wish they had won. Now that they lost, they'll take it more seriously? Or do you look at them, like, hey, once the Niners lost 1, they lost 3?
If the Niners maybe would have rebounded after a bad loss and then played really well, that would be one thing. But I think the Niners give you a hope that, well, maybe this is their stretch.
I mean, because for the Chiefs, by the way, they lost to the Broncos. Now they play the Dolphins on a neutral field. Bye week, Eagles. I mean, there are a handful of teams that have the same record or better than the Chiefs. They're playing 2 of them in their next 2 games. I mean, they can be a really good team and lose them both.
Right now, this will be for the Miami Dolphins.
Well, and for those that said they haven't beat a team with a winning record, only beat 1 team last year with a winning record, blah, blah, blah. And it's all true. That's a fact. Right now, my $20 straight up, Chiefs or Dolphins, who would you take?
The Miami Dolphins.
Would you really?
Yes.
Look at you.
Because they don't have receivers. They've got Travis Kelce. He's going to get his catches. What the X factor is how much Pacheco will be able to run the ball. Because Miami's defense, I think, is vulnerable to the run at times. But I like the Dolphins.
I like them if they wear the uniforms they wore Sunday. If they go back to the old stuff, just shame on them. Honestly, mid-season, don't care what the NFL rules are. Don't care if they get fined. I'm a billionaire owner. I don't care. Find me whatever you want. Here's the blank check. Fill in what you think is fair. All goes to charity anyway. Man, they look good yesterday.
We're not even talking about the football on the field.
No, don't care. Tua, whatever, 3 touchdowns, Waddle.
Doesn't matter.
Tyreek, whatever. Honestly, they look so damn good.
Those end zones.
Oh! Miami has the Dolphins. They're the greatest football team. Lomas Brown next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 40 here right now, and the high is going to be about 45. And when we're walking home after the game, it'll barely be above freezing.
Tonight?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we're walking to the little shindig last night, and John Perry, who lives in Ohio half the year. I mean, the other half, he lives in Bonita Springs, but he lives in Ohio, for goodness sakes. And he's talking about, oh, I don't know. This is cool. This might be too cold. Looked at him, I go, for goodness sakes. But yeah, I damn right I brought my jacket. Also brought the T-Rex outfit. We'll see if it makes the survey. Joe's not feeling well. That hurts my cause here. He may not be in the mood for it. So it was like a yes, no, maybe last week. It was a yes and a maybe. So I'm just going to put it on. Detroit's booth is like split in half. All right. And so they'll be in front of it, and they got a whole other like booth basically behind it. And in the middle is a room, and it's a bathroom. It's a fairly decent size. And I'll just go in and change before the game and walk around and just stand in between Troy and John Perry as a T-Rex.
I got to tell you, even with free tickets, an Everblades game can be expensive.
And free parking.
I know. That was the best.
Wasn't it?
Oh, we got there so late, there was no one even checking parking anymore.
Oh, wow.
We got there before the drop of the face-off. They didn't drop the puck until 7:15, 7:17. The whole banner. They didn't start the banner thing until I knew, I walked in there singing America the Beautiful. Then they did the anthem. It's like, all right, whatever.
That may have given you a chance because you're all the way down on the right to hit the concessions then.
We hit no line beer and yeah.
Right. No. Wow, that worked out well.
Worked out perfectly. I love it. The usher's like, you know where you're going? Yep. So I kind of walked past him. You're all set? You know where you yep, I know how to.
Good. Thank you.
Been here before.
What's the matter of fact you have? Cassio and the wife and the kids ended up going. Moron. When he said no, I said to him, I go, when you call me later and ask me if I have the tickets, the answer is no. Okay. And sure enough, 2 days beforehand. Hey, did you? No, they're gone. Are you serious? What, you think I just sat on them and waited for you to call for a week? No. I go, hey, imagine that. Your wife changed her mind. That is shocking.
We bailed mid-third. They're down 3-2. They score, tie it 3-3, and then give up another one. They score with a minute and a half left to tie it and give up the game winner with 28 seconds left.
Oh. I go home unhappy. That's good, though. You had 5 goals. You had some action.
Oh, a little brouhaha at the end of the period. The goalie almost got into it with somebody at the end of the second.
Nice.
He pointed the stick up at the banner, which I thought was a nice move. All right, you got Lomas?
You may have to call Lomas a few times. Just saying. Yeah, well, I'll have to keep calling.
Yep, there he is. All right, he answered.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. This is a thrill for Miller and Moulton. Lomas Brown, kind enough to join us for the first time. 18 years in the NFL. Before that, he was a standout with the Gators. He's in their Sports Hall of Fame. Won a Super Bowl with the Bucks. Longtime Lion. Being honored tonight, going in the Lions Ring of Honor and Hall of Fame. You can follow Lomas on Twitter/X at LomasBrown75. Lomas, it's David and Mark. Thanks for doing this. Congratulations on your honor. How you doing?
I'm doing great. You guys made the big fella feel like he was something special. I really appreciate it.
Well, I mean, talk about it. Ring of Honor. That's incredibly special. That the Ring of Honor. What does that mean to you, Lomas?
Oh man, it means so much. It really does, man. It means that my work that I did, it went noticed. It means that I played with a bunch of great guys that helped me get to the point of where I'm at. And, you know, it just feels good to be 60 years old and getting your roses. So I feel good about everything today.
So what was it like blocking for number 20? What was that like?
So I tell everybody, it was hard, but it was fair. I mean, it was awesome because, you know, with Barry, the player be set for him to go to the right, and you turn around and Barry's all the way back over to the left. You never knew where he would be at with that ball. So as a blocker, he made you stay on your blocks. You had to, when they say block to the whistle or finish to the whistle, you really had to do that as an offensive lineman for Barry Sanders because, like I say, you would never know where he would end up with the ball at, and you didn't want to be that guy that let your guy tackle Barry Sanders. So it was great playing with him, a humble guy, humble guy. That's why it was so easy to give your all for this guy because he was just not only a great player, but a great individual.
Well, to leap forward to now, Lomas, I don't know if there's been any type of hype in Motown for the Lions since Barry played like there is right now. Just talk about where this team is and a city that is completely 100% bought into Lions football right now.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And look, they used to tell us that when I was in the locker room, they used to tell us, look, guys, if you ever won the Super Bowl or got to the Super Bowl, you would own not only the city of Detroit, but the state of Michigan. That's how football is revered here. So, right now, man, everybody's at a frenzy because of how well this team is playing, the expectations they have for this team this year. It's just a lot of excitement going on. Monday Night TV hadn't been here in like 5-6 years. It's here. Prime time games we're playing. Looking forward to being relevant late in the year. That hadn't happened around here in a long, long time. So it's a lot of exciting things going on in Detroit, especially for the Detroit Lions.
Lomas, how good are they? You played on the team that last went as far as the NFC Championship game. When you look at this Lions team, which like you guys were very good up front. This team's very good on the offensive line. When you look at the Lions, how good do you think they can be?
So my expectations coming into this season was to win the division, 2, host the playoff game, 3, win that playoff game. That was my expectations. Now I know Detroit Lions, those players in that locker room, Rod Wood, Brad Holmes, Dan Campbell, and that coaching staff, I know their expectations are far beyond where mine is, but I'm telling you, that would be a great start if we could win the division, host the playoff game, and win that playoff game, because as you guys know, all you want to do is get to the dance. All you want is your invitation to that dance, and you never know what can happen. So, I look at this team and, I look at them on the offense, like you say, they look similar to us. You look at them on the defensive side of the ball, and they can actually be better than our defense was back in the day. And then, of course, you look at the special team side of the ball. So, to me, they're a complete team, a team, like I say, at the end of the year, should be hosting a playoff game because we won our division. And hopefully win that playoff game and look forward to what else lies ahead.
Big day for Lomas Brown. He goes in the Lions Hall of Fame, Ring of Honor, if you will, but he has to work. He's got to call the game as part of the Lions radio network. He's not getting off just because he's a Hall of Famer. Oh, no. Got to work. Gets about 15 minutes in the middle of it. He's kind enough to join us. You can follow Lomas on Twix, Twitter/X at Lomas Brown 75.
And Lomas, this has been a great start for Detroit, but they've had to deal with a little bit of injuries. Jared Goff has come into his own this year and a little bit of last year, but he's winning road games, and he doesn't seem like the guy that would be a Dan Campbell quarterback. Talk about how these two work so well together.
Yeah, he's kind of evolved into that. Like you say, think about this. We'll go through this scenario. Think about this. You take a West Coast guy, born and raised, high school, college, in the West Coast and pros. Then you tell this guy, okay, thanks for getting us to a Super Bowl, but we no longer need your services. Matter of fact, we want to get the quarterback in Detroit and send you to Detroit and stuff. Okay, you put a West Coast guy in the Midwest. The weather's different. Teammates are different. Coaches, scheme is different. So it takes this guy a year to get acclimated to being in Detroit, being in the Midwest, his teammates and everything. But I tell you what, after that year and a half, oh boy, that player has learned that system. Matter of fact, I take that back. That player has mastered that system. And he runs it just as good as his offensive coordinator, Ben Johnson. You could just see the confidence in Jared Goff. He walks around with his chest stuck out because he's such a confident guy now. He controls the teammates. He controls everything that goes out on that field, and everybody follows him, including this organization. I think Jared has cemented himself here with the Detroit community, and he is our quarterback. We need to re-sign Jared Goff. He's the quarterback of the future for the Detroit Lions.
Lions hosting Monday Night Football, first time in 5 years. They're 7.5-point favorites against the Raiders. Lomas on the Lions radio call. Obviously, Buck and Aikman doing the national television call. Listen, you grew up in Miami, and yet we mentioned when you were kind enough to come on a few minutes ago that you're in the Gators Hall of Fame. How the heck did you not fall under the vices of Howard Snellenberger and become a Cane?
So as you guys know, and you can see the 30 for 30, that ESPN 30 for 30, the U, I was part of that. That was that movement when Howard Snellenberger instructed all his assistant coaches to start recruiting in the inner city of Miami. So I was one of those guys that they started recruiting. And to be honest with you, I started running with the wrong group of guys in Miami, and I knew I needed to get out of Miami. I knew I needed to change my scenery if I wanted to be successful. And I knew if I went to Gainesville, which was a 5-hour drive from Miami, my friends couldn't easily get to me. And I think that was the biggest decision that I made to try to keep myself grounded. Because as you guys know, Miami can eat you up, man. You talk South Beach, you talk Coral Gables, the nightlife. You know, fast as Miami is, you could really, as a young person, you could really get swallowed up in that. So I needed to go to Gainesville, somewhere where it was just a college town. It was a little slower for me. Like I say, my friends couldn't get to me as easily. And it worked out. It really, really worked out for me. I'll tell you one other little thing. If you look at my scholarship that I signed from the University of Florida, it's only one signature on there. My mother was the only one that signed it. My dad was so mad at me that I went to the University of Florida, to the University of Miami, and Howard Snellenberger. He refused to sign my scholarship. That's how upset my dad was that I didn't stay and go to the University of Miami.
It obviously worked out as a Gator Hall of Famer. It's got to sting a little bit when you watch what happened Saturday to the Gators. I don't mean to bring up a sore subject, but you know, we've had plenty of ex-players on, and I'll ask you the same thing. If you could suit up one more game on Saturday or Sunday, when would you suit up?
Oh man, come on now. I don't know about the other guys, but I'm suiting up for Florida State. I got a bone to pick with those guys. Yeah, when I was coming out, man, that was the only school in the state of Florida that didn't recruit me. I'm talking about Stetson, FAMU, Bethune-Cookman, you name it. Every other school in the state of Florida recruited me except for Florida State, and I've always had a bone to pick with those guys. Of course, when I was at Florida, we went 4-0 against those guys and beat them my last year like 56-14. We just slaughtered those guys. But if it's one game, I could suit up for them. I can only give them one play now. They can only get one play out of 6 of them. But if it's one game I could do, that'll be them Seminoles. That's who I would get.
Well, they could have used you 4th and a half a yard on Saturday. I got to be honest with you.
And can I say this? Just that game, it was really, if you think about it, the Gators played them tough early, but it was like 2 to 3 plays that really broke that game open and made it look the way it looked. But they were in it early, but we know Georgia, man. That's a professional team over there, right there. So we know how good they've been over these last few years. But hopefully the Gators, we can keep building on this thing. And hopefully Coach Napier could get this thing turned around for us.
We're thrilled, Lomas, to have you be a part of the show today. We know that there's a chance that maybe we're going to be doing this on a more regular basis because you're hooked up with the folks at Doran Mayhew. And also, I know you talked about being, Miami born and bred and going to the Gators, that you are going to be doing a lot more with your foundation in the state of Florida. And we want to help you do that to help as many people as possible.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. That's what it's all about, trying to help our kids. That's our greatest resource. So we have to pour into our kids, and that's what my foundation does. And I'm definitely looking forward to getting back down to Florida with my foundation and helping our youth down there.
Lomas, we said it at the beginning, but we mean it. Congratulations. Hell of an honor. Well deserved. Soak up the night, and we look forward to doing this again.
I sure appreciate you guys. We're going to have fun this year doing this. I could tell.
No doubt. No doubt. Thanks, Lomas.
Take care.
Lomas Brown 75 is how you follow him on Twitter/X. How about that? Dad's so mad he won't sign the paper.
And it didn't take him long. What game? No. Not only do I want to suit up for Florida, I want to play against Florida State.
All right, let's be honest. We've asked a couple dozen players. Has anyone ever answered they'd line up on Sunday?
Not
one. I can't remember a one.
And that's where they get paid.
Right.
When
And
it
if you
comes
could
to it,
joke
they'd
and
rather do it for free, and I'd rather
Right.
play it in that one. I want to play against Florida State. That's awesome.
Yep.
And he went
We've not-
4-0 against them. It's not like he has animosity
No.
that he lost a game that he's trying to get back at him. It's
No.
if they didn't. He remembers he's 60 years old.
Yes.
Every school in the state of Florida offered me a scholarship except Florida State. So I want to play against them.
Right. Yeah. He went to the NFC Championship game. He's going in the Lions Ring of Honor. Okay. What is it that he is reciting? 4-0, 66-14. I love the fact he said Stetson, Bethune, FAMU.
Awesome.
Lomas Brown, kind enough to join us. Lions, big night tonight, not just for Lomas, but for the Lions, the city. You know, I've been in it now for 24 hours. They're fired up. They really are. This Monday Night Football is not what it was in the 70s and 80s and what have you. But you know what? To the folks in this part of the country, they're like, wow, we're being focused on Monday Night Football. This is kind of like when, you and I growing up, it was when Summerall and Madden did your game. Well, guess what? Buck and Aikman are showing up to do their game. And it's not Thanksgiving.
Correct. That's the only time people like that usually show up in Motown is to see. And it's all about who Detroit's playing and can they ruin someone else's season. Now Detroit trying to make a season, win a division, as Lomas said, host a playoff game and see where they can go from there. And they got a big break because the Vikings were coming on. And now with no Kirk Cousins, the division seems, well, not just winnable. It seems like an automatic for the Detroit Lions.
Buried in Bourbon in our Twitch chat room said, I'm Lomas's dad if any of my three kids decide to go to Florida State.
Miller and Moulton, the Diamond District bonus hour is next right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
No. Sonny, he was working. But he will be there Wednesday.
Wait a minute, they didn't hoist the banner? Oh no, I had his ticket, Sonny. I know he wasn't there. That's what David just answered. Yeah, sorry. I'm just putting these on. I'll tell you what, the number of people that wear Everblades jerseys at Everblades games is a staggeringly high amount for a minor league hockey team.
Unbelievable.
They just hand out jerseys, though.
Yeah, but you still gotta buy them.
No. You got to buy them.
You want to know something, though? Those are amazing jerseys.
Their logo's fantastic.
Their logo is amazing. And it's a great name.
Mark was there at the beginning.
That's what I moved
He ran
out.
the contest.
No, the name was done. Craig had the name done. We ran the name the mascot contest.
Gotcha.
Put it this way. When I am referring to the Everglades, I say Everblades sometimes.
I think the most impressive thing, like Mark, what do you think was more impressive? The first 5, 7, 8 years of the Blades, or the fact that after the major recession and they really lost half their fans? I mean, that place was half full at best for a couple years.
Their research and what Chris Palin did is really remarkable because it's so hard to do in minor league sports.
Yes. And also it happened, and then the Sweet 16 happened, and you thought, wow. Remember,
they've won their titles too. And they didn't ever win in the first half. They did it in the second half.
But remember, we feared that they would just be like the movies. We feared that they would cease to be a sports entity.
And they are a sports entity. People are in.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, like my daughter couldn't have cared less if they won or lost, but when they start chanting "Let's go Blades," she starts screaming it.
Does she root for the fights?
No.
Because my daughter did. My daughter loved when they fought.
She'd have to see one to get into it. She's the comments that she makes are great. A little sucker punch. Well, that was rude. Well,
yes, honey, it was.
In fact, my wife said there's a lot of that goes on in these games, dear.
Probably can't let her sit next to Pat for a game. Pat wants him to be the Johnstown Chiefs.
Mm-hmm. I got Wings and Islanders tonight too. Holy cow!
Oh, take it easy. Hey, Trevor. Or Trevor. Why did I call you? Know why I called you Trevor? Marty. Your boss just called you Trevor. Like, Trevor.
You can
we'll
call
have Trevor Lawrence cut it. Send it. Trent, when you have a moment, cut the Lomas Brown interview. Put it off.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
It's a big day on Miller and Moulton. It's not just the final Monday of October, Mischief Night, Devil's Night, night before Thanksgiving or Halloween. Probably Halloween is what you should go with. But see, the reason I got Thanksgiving on the brain is I'm in Detroit for a football game. And usually the only time a network's in Detroit for a football game, it's Thanksgiving.
Makes sense, David. It definitely makes sense. When are you there? Well, it's the night before Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Doing the show. I got Thanksgiving game tomorrow. We move on.
Right. Then we move on. It just Miller and I have to decide, are we doing a show the day after Thanksgiving or not? But we're definitely doing a show tomorrow on Halloween after the Lions play host to the Raiders tonight on Monday Night Football. It's also the debut of Trent, our new producer. Okay, Felipe assisting in the background for another day or so. But Trent is now calling the shots, running the board, keeping us in line. He's very big on time cues, Mark.
Yeah, I know, and it bothers the hell out of you, doesn't it?
I can back off that, David. You just let me know.
Well, no, listen, you should follow whatever Mark wants the lead to be. He's the one who's going to be across the glass from you just about every show you ever do. All right. But Mark, you have to admit, I mean, if we ever became a big show, which obviously is not going to happen now, we've been doing this 18 years, it would have happened by now. And at our age, it usually happens before now. But if we ever became a big show, they would sit us down and go, okay, so what's your guys' structure? What do you mean? Well, what's the structure? I mean, we got to have a pre-show meeting. Yeah, we're doing the starting five, the third segment. We're going to interview Gary Danielson, the fourth segment, Chris Landry, the seventh segment, Lomas Brown, the ninth segment. That's our structure. Well, no. We got to know what you're going to talk about.
We don't know.
Right. Lot out there. We'll figure it out. We'll get to it. No. We got to structure this. You got to have a theme and what have you. I'm sure that would work better, but just not how. And so along the lines of having a lot less structure is, Trent is like, okay, guys, and we're coming back in 1 minute. 1 minute? For goodness sakes, Mark may go get breakfast during that time. Are you serious?
We've got an off-camera segment to do during that. We got things we've got to get to.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my condo fixed. Okay, Mark's arranging for his daughter to get picked up. Don't bother us. A minute's an eternity.
Hey, it's usually interrupting a conversation too, so that's even
exactly better. Leave us alone. But no, Trent's very big into 30 seconds. Yeah, right. We get that. By now, we have a pretty good understanding of time. By the way, here's the deal. When you start playing the intro music, we know it's time to shut up. I'll just give you a hint.
Fair enough. That's fair.
You want to get our attention, play the music. Oh, I guess we got to get back and do a show. So, how about them Dolphins, huh? 6-2, baby. Come on now. Yeah.
I was very impressed with Miami yesterday.
Why is that?
Because, well, the Patriots have done okay against the rest of the division.
Yeah.
They've managed to beat those other teams.
Yeah.
And in order for Miami to get to where they needed to get in their division, you and I were confident that the key is beating the Patriots twice.
Yes.
That's the first key to winning the division, is beating the Patriots twice, not screwing up.
Right.
And they went in with a business-like performance, and they tried to screw up a little bit there, the early fumble in the second half, and they gave them good field position. They went, okay, here, get right back into the game.
Yeah.
And it was just a blip on the radar.
Right. Tua had a bad pick. Didn't see the underneath guy. Seemed obvious to the rest of us, but then again, we've never been there. So, yeah, okay. New England with an early score. All right. Driving late first half. They were 5-3 at this time last year. They got to 8-3. They're 6-2 this year. Does it feel different?
Not yet. 7-2 would really feel different.
Gotcha. So you're laying down your line of demarcation here. Okay.
And it's not the fact
Germany.
that if this yesterday would have been like the Patriots were nice. It's a nice business-like win. And if you keep beating the teams that you are better than, eventually you will be better than everyone.
Is that how that works?
But I want to see them beat a team that physically might be tougher than they are. And the Chiefs defensively are tougher than the Miami Dolphins. Seems to be some pressure points on that defensive front for the Chiefs. So they're about where they should be, in my opinion, right now.
But if they beat Kansas City,
okay. And you're talking
Super Bowl.
And I'm not even messing around. Because if they beat Kansas City, then they are the greatest football team you've ever seen. Then the hype, David, starts becoming more reality.
Well, and both the Chiefs and Dolphins will be playing and then heading into their respective byes. Dolphins come out of the bye hosting the Raiders. The Chiefs come out of the bye hosting the Eagles. Super Bowl rematch on Monday Night Football. Only the second time in the history of Monday Night Football that will ever have happened. Oh, by the way. So, but then, down the stretch, you're going to have to play the Jets twice. They host the Cowboys. They go to the Baltimore. They host the Bills. It's why Miller and Moulton, we are really big on when the schedule maker gives you a win, you got to get the win. Why is Buffalo in a hole? They lost at New England. Bills would be in first if they did what? Just beat the damn Patriots. Think of the Jets. They're fortunate to be 4-3. They lost at home to the Patriots, who scored, I think, a whopping 15 points that day. I mean, the Jets are thinking, man, we should be at least 5-2.
And we still wouldn't think any differently of the Jets because
the quarterback's horrendous.
Just horrendous.
Horrendous. Well, I'm telling you right now, not that they would do it, obviously, because they don't have anybody else. But if the Jets called up the Vikings and said, we'll give you Zach Wilson, what do you think they'd say?
I think the Vikings would hang up the phone. I think they'd say this is Devil's Night, and it's the Lions making a prank phone call to us.
Is this Ashton Kutcher?
Isn't even funny.
Are you punking me? 4:00 tomorrow, by the way, the trade deadline. 31 hours. That's what we're down to. I actually think we're going to over under number of trades we have by 4:00 tomorrow. 4.5.
Under.
I'll go over. And
I hope you're right.
Well, it should be, damn it. We got 4 teams atop the AFC at 6-2. You mean to tell me that none of those 4 teams could use one guy? There's one 5th-round pick in the future that's so damn valuable that you can't pick up somebody in the next 31 hours? The Niners are just fine. They're just fine. Once they get Debo back, it'll be fine. Is that what you're saying? You don't need anything else. By the way, you guys can't get to a quarterback. Just three games in a row here, you can't get to a quarterback. You sure?
Well, what should the Dolphins do? GM Moulton.
The Dolphins. Ooh.
Do they go out and get an offensive lineman? I mean, what is it? They're one of the teams you're talking about.
They are.
So if they're one of the 6-2 teams, Mr. General Manager, what is it that you would do right now if you're the Miami Dolphins?
Ooh. Biggest area of need is it the offensive line or is it run defense? And I would argue it's run defense. They've only had 2 bad games on the offensive line. Happened to be both games they lost. Interesting. Anyway, back to the discussion. Their run defense, however, has been shaky. How much of that is scheme? How much of that is they could probably use another run stuffer? Should they call the Giants and inquire about Leonard Williams, who's a free agent at the end of the year?
What about the Jags? What do they do, Mr. GM?
Ooh, I'd get an offensive lineman. I'm very worried about their tackles. I would if I could.
Had a rough game. That rookie tackle had a rough game. I mean, it is TJ Watt across from him, but that's
yeah. I mean,
that was a long day for that young man.
Yeah. Yeah, he didn't sleep well, nor should he have. I would get a tackle if I could. They can go to the Super Bowl, by the way. They can. Don't think they can't. They can. They can go to the Super Bowl. If their name wasn't the Jacksonville Jaguars and we take another name that you'd like and put them on it, you'd go, that team could go to the Super Bowl.
They've got all the weapons. Defense plays pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I will say this.
I'd like to see him get a pass rusher.
I was just going to say that. I was just going to say because they got Josh Allen playing out of his mind. But what if he gets banged up? What if he slows down? I'm totally with you. One of those mid-season acquisitions. A Leonard Floyd type acquisition. I'm not saying him, but you know what I mean. Do you give up a sexy draft choice and make a Von Miller type acquisition like the Rams did 2 years ago?
And, is a guy like Aaron Donald available right now for the record because they just got whooped yesterday?
Yeah.
Does that change the way the Rams think?
Don't you have to have that conversation? They're 3-5. So how about Daniel Hunter from the Vikings? Find out what mood the Vikings are in, right? Call them up. You say, we'll take Hunter off your hands. You got to pick up his contract for the rest of this year. We'll sign him to the extension. We don't have a problem with that. We'll pay him. Josh Allen on one side, Hunter on the other. Seriously? Yeah, we're in.
Oh, I've got the GM. I got the GM working right now. I've got Moulton working 5 teams.
Yeah. Oh, but you find out right away which side the Vikings are on. Are they going to actually go out and get a quarterback to replace Cousins and they're all in to make the playoffs? Or if they're like, well, no, we're sticking to the plan and we've got a long distance. Whatever. Haven't won a Super Bowl. Haven't been in 45 years. Yeah, your plan.
The Diamond District bonus hour. We're making trades. We'll see who we trade next right here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
20 years ago, Jason and I had the idea for a jewelry store like no other, with a vast selection of certified diamonds priced 8 to 12% over cost. A team of individuals who are educated, driven, and believe in cultivating relationships.
Today, we have become one of the largest independent jewelry stores in the country. Todd and I love what we do and are in the store nearly every day, along with our GIA gemologists, master jewelers, custom designers, and non-commissioned diamond consultants, all of which we consider family.
As direct diamond importers, we travel the world, forging relationships and sourcing diamonds. What we love most about our business is that we can call Southwest Florida our home.
If selection, value, and comfort are important to you, give the Diamond District an opportunity. You won't find a better diamond buying experience. Todd and I look forward to shaking your hand and welcoming you to our Diamond District family.
At the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung has successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida for over 30 years. As a former prosecutor, the information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, a criminal matter, or involved in an auto accident, call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung. I'm a local attorney with local knowledge to assist you through the process. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Offices in Fort Myers.
Market? Well, look no further because we here at Southwest talk with one of our experienced sales reps, have a soda and a smile, and you could be cruising the streets in your new EV today. Stop by the store or visit our website at flgolfcarts.com and enter for a chance to win $100 off your next purchase by answering John's monthly sports question.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Yes, Saquon Barkley can be traded. The only way you can't be traded in the NFL is if you have a no-trade clause. Now, there are certain players who can't be tagged. They have that in their contracts or the way it was done, but it's funny though, Adam, in 2021, he had 27 TDs and 7 interceptions. That doesn't suck. He wasn't good last year, though.
Hey, David, you said you wanted the Lomas interview just like clipped by itself?
Yeah, because the boss wants it.
Okay.
And then just email it to me and I'll get it to him. Is your email all set up? You got all that?
I haven't gotten anything.
Really?
I haven't heard from anyone. Maybe that's what we're doing tomorrow. I don't know.
No, you should. No. You should have got it at your personal email to set up your Florida Sports Network email. Because I gave them. That's why I asked you.
Okay.
Well,
I'll search. I mean, I'll look it up. Maybe I got something, but I not that I
check. I'll make sure Jeff does that today. Then, if it's not done.
Okay. Thank you.
Could be on me. There's probably a reason because I don't think I ever sent Jeff your email.
Yeah, if I search Florida in my email, it's just a bunch of Costco spam.
RCB, this deadline's actually 2 weeks later than it used to be. Now, there are those of us that want it to be like the Tuesday after Thanksgiving, but the reason that the NFL, what they've said, first off, in the past, they just didn't consider it part of their game. But when debating it in recent years, they've said they don't want teams tanking on the season. That they don't want teams mailing it in. They don't want the NBA. That's what they don't want. It wouldn't shock me if in a couple years they move it back another 2 weeks.
Hey, Mark, today is your only chance to bet the Pistons, Red Wings, and Lions in a parlay for the season.
Ooh,
I'm good. What can I bet the under on the? Well, I could bet. I could always bet the under on the Pistons.
Yeah, well, the Wings started hot, and now they're just.
They're going to fight for a playoff
I think so too.
spot.
I got my hopes up at the beginning because they were so fun to watch and fast paced and everything. But I don't know. Water fights this level, I guess.
It's a long season. What's up with the Capitals? Last 2 games. When New Jersey won, they won last night. What the hell? Although they beat San Jose.
Last night was San Jose.
How about Colorado goes on the road, loses back-to-back 4-0 games in Pittsburgh and Buffalo?
If Buffalo had a goaltender, they'd be dangerous.
Yeah, them and the Devils. Devils win the cup with a goalie. Seth and my buddy Bob, both Devils fans, are tired of me saying that. Sorry. If Shesterkin was on the Devils, you'd win the cup.
Coming back.
Are you just stirking me?
Welcome to the bonus hour, brought to you by Jason and Todd at the Diamond District. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
All right, coming at you high and hard with this next question. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. That's all in about 18 minutes. Okay. How many of you watched some of the World Series? Be honest.
Believe it or not, I watched more of Game 2 than I did Game 1.
Huh, that's a shame.
I know, because Game 1 was terrific.
Yes, it was.
Ended just before the first pitch of Game 2.
Did not go
It's a
that long.
4-hour-plus game in
I
today's
know.
baseball.
I
Went
know.
4:09. Didn't finish until the next day in which it started.
Well, I mean, they did go like 11 innings, though. I mean, there is a caveat. I mean,
Okay.
but you're right. No, it took a long time. It took a long time. And it seems even longer with what we just went through in Major League Baseball, where games took on average of 240. And this 9-inning game took about 330. And then extra innings took another 30 or so minutes. So, yeah, I hear you. I'm feeling your pain. It was pretty damn good, though. Guy hits a 2-run homer in the bottom of the ninth to send it to extra innings. By the way, did you catch the call of both home runs? It's Joe. Who's now replaced Buck?
Oh,
the young guy, the voice of the Dodgers.
Yeah, the voice of the Dodgers.
I even worked with him for a game. I really should remember this. Nice guy. His dad's his spotter and everything. Anyway, right before the pitch to Seager in the ninth inning, he says, one swing away from tying it.
Joe Davis.
Joe Davis. Boom.
I wanted to say Joe Douglas because I knew a Joe Douglas when I was in high school, and I knew that was the wrong name.
So that worked out pretty well. And then he, on his feet, don't know if he thought of this or somebody gave it to him, but about a minute or so after, because, the Rangers, Adalis there, who's carried them the whole playoffs, he's defected from Cuba. And he hit the home run in the 11th off of a pitcher by the name of Castro. So, just a little play on words there. A Cuban defector homers off Castro for a walk-off in the World Series. First Game 1 World Series walk-off since Gibson in 88. 35 years since we had a Game 1 walk-off. Also, it was the first time somebody had rallied in the ninth inning down 2 or more runs to tie it and or win it since the Royals did it to the Mets 8 years ago.
And I'm guessing most of you found out about it Saturday morning.
That's kind of why I brought it up. Like in our Twitch chat room. 2 minutes, I think. I forgot all about it. So it's 1-1? Rough, tough powder puff. 0% of the World Series so far. Okay. All right. It is 1-1. Right. Texas, dramatic fashion. 6-5-11, Game 1. And Arizona, it was 3-1 late. They scored 1 in the 8th and a bunch of runs after that. And they won, what was it, 9-1?
Yep. I turned it on when I got back from the Everblades game on Saturday night.
Okay. So, there you have it. 1-1. And quite the dichotomy tonight. Hard-throwing rookie for Arizona. And Max Scherzer, who, if his career ended today, was likely going to the Hall of Fame. 3-time Cy Young Award winner and all.
Still like the Rangers? I mean, we both like the Rangers going into the series.
Yeah, I do. And in fact, Philly, I know Arizona's had a really good home record. They've only lost once at home, right? They didn't play at home in the first round. They only played one home game against the Dodgers. They went 2-1 against Philly at home. So they're 3-1 at home. But Mark, what is Texas on the road?
They're undefeated.
2-0 in Tampa, 2-0 in Baltimore, 4-0 in Houston, right?
Right.
I mean, aren't they 8-0 on the road? So, yeah, I mean, don't laugh. Psychologically, I think it'd be a big win for Arizona. They win tonight. They beat Scherzer. Texas doesn't really have a Game 4 starter. They're kind of throwing out their wing and a prayer guy in Game 4. All right, I'm just saying, this could be the game in the World Series. Winner of this game wins the series type game.
And it's a reminder that the World Series resumes tonight.
Right, 8:00, Fox.
Yep. Monday Night Football is what you'll be watching. I want you to think about that as a sports fan. The World Series is on, and you're going to choose to watch the Detroit Lions
against the Las Vegas Raiders. Correct. In fact, Mark, you and I are into this more than most people, but if I give you the World Series and 4 million viewers, would you take it?
Wow, that's really solid, David.
The World Series plus 4 million versus Monday Night Football. Because I'm thinking like 7 million for the World Series.
Exactly.
Give them 4. We get to 11. Does the World Series cut into Monday Night Football? Monday Night Football. This isn't the most marquee matchup. A good one will do 14-16. This one could do 13. It's okay going up against the World Series. So I'll give you the World Series and 4 million. Would you take it?
4.5, I would really be probably taking the baseball, but 4, I think I'd still take the football.
All right, I'll give you 4.5, but not a viewer more.
I'll take baseball.
Okay.
You can double up now too. That's what the people my age do. They got 2 TVs
I
going.
know, but that's not how the ratings work. The
the
ratings are only going to get you one or the other.
That is correct.
So basically, you have to decide which one will the volume be up for. In theory, that's the one that Nielsen will give you credit for. In theory.
And in my house, the volume will be up for football.
Okay, there you go. There you go.
And this has nothing to do with the Lions playing. It doesn't matter what the Monday night game. I would be volume first on Monday night with the opportunity, if the game gets ugly, to make the switch. Baseball's hoping for a Detroit Lion blowout tonight.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
Have this look like last night's Sunday Night Football. Get the Lions out to a big lead, and people can switch over to baseball.
And for those wondering, NBC could not switch out of Bears Chargers. It's a little too early in the season. I think they have to go one more week with what the schedule they got from the network, or from the league, I should say, is. And then I think NBC can start switching out the second Sunday in November. Monday Night Football can't start switching out until the Monday after Thanksgiving, which is the Bears at the Vikings. I'll make a prediction right now. They ain't going to be doing that game.
Yeah, I think that's a safe prediction.
Mm-hmm.
No matter who the quarterback is in Minnesota.
Correct. And the quarterback should be Ryan Tannehill. Should be.
No arguments for me.
Yeah.
When you asked, you and I both agreed on that. That's the phone call I would be making today.
Don't know if he's healthy to play next week. He may need another week. Okay. He can spend the week, learning the playbook. We'll try to get by 1 week with what do we got here? Jaron Hall, Sean Mannion.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Jaron Hall.
Okay.
Remember that name.
Listen, the Vikings aren't playing a team with a winning record for 5 games in a row here? And they've got the Lions late in the year. They'll have Justin Jefferson back by then. I mean, are you really conceding the division? You're running an NFL team. You haven't been in the Super Bowl in 45 years. Are you really conceding a season when you've won 4 or 5?
And did you already concede the season when you decided that was your backup quarterback situation in July and August?
I will defend the front office if they do this. If they want to concede this season, fine. But during the next couple of weeks, sign Cousins to an extension. Otherwise, this is malpractice. Good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap today was the day when. It's all next.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
When choosing something of high value and personal significance, such as a diamond, you want to shop with the best. And the mall is not the place to be. Here are my friends, Jason and Todd with the Diamond District.
Take a stroll in the mall, pop into a few jewelry stores, and you'll soon discover you're in the wrong place. Rings begin to look all alike. You're not finding GIA certified diamonds. You quickly realize you know more than a salesperson helping you, and all the same financing gets pushed on you.
Visit Jason and me, and you'll find America's top bridal designers dealing exclusively with the Diamond District. You'll find the largest selection of GIA certified diamonds, all priced 8 to 10% over cost. You'll find educated sales consultants who have many years' experience and are not paid commissions.
And you'll find Todd and me in the store nearly every day, wanting to shake your hand and welcome you to our Diamond District family.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
The law firm of Michael F. Hornung specializes in criminal defense, DUI, personal injury, nursing home claims, and auto accidents. I'm a former prosecutor with over 34 years of experience. The information I know is information you need to know. If you've been arrested for a DUI, time is of the essence to maintain your driving privileges. Call the law firm of Michael F. Hornung for a free consultation. At the law firm of Michael F. Hornung, we are committed to excellence in your representation. Being a local attorney with local knowledge is clutch to the success of your case. For over 30 years, we have successfully represented the citizens of Southwest Florida. For a free consultation, call 239-437-0095. That's 239-437-0095. Our offices are conveniently located in Fort Myers. Visit online at mfh-law.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes until the top of the hour, 16 until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton. Technically along the Florida Sports Network, but this hour, this Diamond District bonus hour, it's just for Southwest Florida. It's for our base, for the folks that are the reason why we still have a show, and we are very grateful for that. Hope you had a good weekend, and thanks for starting your week off with us. And Trent, the new guy.
Number 9.
Number nine. Famous number 9s.
Gordie Howe.
Yeah, and he's a Detroit guy too.
Matthew Stafford.
Wow.
He still wears number 9. Out in LA. Terrible game yesterday, though.
Wow. You went from Gordie Howe to Matthew Stafford. You don't think there's
on.
any middle ground there
That
at
was
all?
my whole childhood. I don't even
Ted
know who Gordie Howe is.
I mean, how far back you want to go? Ted Williams? You know, what number was K-Line?
6.
6. Okay.
He was 6. 9 for the Tigers. That's tough. Carlos Guillen.
Just see, stop it.
Nick Castellanos.
Stop it.
Hey, Castellanos is all right.
And Castellanos hits a home run.
Yeah. That's a deep
To make the score 4-0. Anyway, back to my heartfelt apology. Right. Oh boy. Gordie Howe to Nick Castellanos and Carlos Guillen. Wow. You know, like Bobby Hull. I mean, hell, Joe Torre even. No, he was 6, come to think of it. Well, he wore 9 and 6. But anyway.
Tony Parker.
Yeah, okay.
That's for Felipe, NBA guy.
There you go. So anyway, Trent. Okay, he's the same age as Felipe. He sounds 10 years older.
By the way, it's not. I don't know if it's really breaking news, but the big high school recruit in the country, this Cooper Flagg kid.
Yeah,
he announced here in the last little while he's going to Duke.
Yeah, that's not a
in
surprise.
the most Duke announcement ever. Cooper Flagg is going to play college basketball at Duke.
Right. He's going to do 1 year at Duke. He moved himself up a year. He's graduating a year early. I had hoped, he's from Maine, and I had hoped he was going to do the year at Maine. I mean, he's going first or second in the draft no matter where he plays. So why don't you just, do something that would be memorable? I mean, no offense, you're a hired gun at Duke. I mean, big deal. I mean, what, are you going to have a better year than Zion?
Yeah, I mean, and Duke's now finally at the level that they're paying what they were when Coach K was there.
Hello. Is this on? Hello. By the way, season starts a week tomorrow. That's college basketball, ladies and gentlemen. College basketball.
Oh, they know in these parts. College basketball is big in the 239, David.
Okay, well, we felt last segment we'd remind people the World Series is still going on. That was just to remind everybody, week tomorrow, college basketball.
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
This is as little as I've ever had on a day. I feel like I am neglecting October the 30th. But P.T. Barnum's Circus, the greatest show on earth, debuts in New York City today in 1873. H.G. Wells' The War of the Worlds is broadcast on radio today in 1938. Orson Welles narrates causes a mass panic.
Panic.
1974, 2 things. One not nearly as important as the other. The first, the not important one. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre premieres in L.A., but the Rumble in the Jungle. Ali KO's Foreman in the 8th in Zaire to regain the heavyweight title. 2013, the Red Sox beat the Cardinals in Game 6 to win the title. 2019, the Nats beat the Astros in Game 7. Christopher Columbus, John Adams, and Diego Maradona, all born today. Grace Slick is 84. Henry Winkler is 78. He really adored his father-in-law. Kevin Pollak, 65. Ty Detmer's 56. And Marcus Mariota's 30. That's all I got, David. What did I miss?
Well, a footnote in history. We nearly had a Brexit 28 years ago today in Canada. Quebec, they were honked, and they were leaving. They're leaving Canada. They were doing their own thing. They were able to get it on the ballot. And by 1%, all right, they didn't leave. 1.2%. They decided, oh, all right, whatever. We're still honked about the Nordiques, though, but we'll stay. I mean, think about that. The Nordiques had just left for Colorado, too. They were like 2 weeks into that season. They go to the ballot to vote about whether to leave. Hell, they want to leave the country and the NHL for that matter. We're done. So, nearly happened. Before Brexit, there was nearly, I don't know what they would have called it. Quebexit?
Very nice.
Thank you.
Tax rate would have been astronomical, too.
Oh, my God. 94%.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
We go to Palm City, where Wendy Diaz and her husband spotted a dog on a spillway with a 12-foot drop in heavily alligator-infested waters and saw a dog. They couldn't get the dog. They called 911 for help. Finally, Animal Services came to the scene and rescued the dog. It was taken to the Humane Society of Treasure Coast. Good rescue. Way to go. For the bad, we go to Polk County, where Timothy Ryder was agitated due to slow-moving traffic, so he did what any sane person would do. He started yelling at the car next to him. Then he decided to show the car next to him his gun that he was carrying.
Oh, for goodness sake.
Little did dumbass Matthew know that the car next to him was a off-duty Florida State Trooper.
I got more firepower than you yahoo.
Trooper reported the incident. They couldn't find the car on the highway. Instead, they went to Matthew's home, where he was arrested on a litany of charges. And finally, the ugly. We go to the Miami area where, husband and wife get a divorce. She moves on. He apparently didn't. Rochelle Bisnath decided to come up with an elaborate scheme to get back at his ex-wife when he wrote a couple of text messages to himself. Then he showed the police the threatening messages that his ex-wife's new boyfriend sent him about their kids. The only problem is, if you caught what I said, he sent the text messages to himself trying to get the ex's boyfriend in trouble. Yeah, he ended up in jail. You moron. And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly on today, October the 30th, Devil's Night 2023.
Or Mischief Night, depending on where it is you are. I am letting them know in the production meeting, Mark, in an hour and 14 minutes, that it is Devil's Night. If we are going to refer to it, we're in Michigan, it is Devil's Night. And I have been schooled over the years, and that you all must be as well.
Pittsburgh. I asked my wife last night if it was Mischief Night or Devil's Night. Devil's Night in Pittsburgh as well.
Okay.
But most of the rest of the country,
yes,
it's Mischief Night. We've established that on this show.
Yes. That's interesting. That's the first person from Pennsylvania to say that. I've asked a few people from PA over the years, and they've all said Mischief Night. So that's interesting. So we'll see whether it comes up tonight or not. I am bringing T-Rex to the game, for the record. Monday Night Football, 8:15, ABC, ESPN, a whole family of networks. Lions, 7.5-point favorites against the Raiders. I wore a costume last year. The game was on Halloween. We were in Cleveland, and I went as Sully. Troy loved it. Joe thought I was ridiculous.
Never would have guessed that either. I would have guessed the complete opposite.
I thought it would be I thought I might get fired. I thought Troy may look at me and go, I can do better than this.
And that's Sully from Monsters, Inc., not Sully the pilot.
Right.
That landed the plane in the Hudson.
That's what Joe said. Okay. Troy on the air goes, he's Sully. All right. And Joe went, well, the only Sully I know landed the plane. And Troy's like, come on, you got 2 4-year-old boys. So we'll see. This will be the last one for a while if they let me wear it, because I think next year you throw a leap year in. I think it's on a Thursday. And so then, it may never do this again, Mark. This could just be 2 and done.
Will you do it for CBS in Big Ten country the next Halloween on a Saturday?
Totally.
Because Danielson won't care.
Oh, I don't know about that. I don't. Come to think of it, that might be. I mean, he hasn't fired me in a while. That could be a fireable offense.
Hey, David, here's what you got to do. You got to pay homage to your younger self wearing the Giants costume and holding the helmet out, because the Lions are wearing those blue helmets. You got to get your hands on one of those. And then you can go trick or treating with the blue helmet tomorrow.
That's true. If I still had the helmet. All right. Although, man, Trent, we've never met. There are very few helmets that can fit this melon. It is big. It's got quite a circumference to it.
Yeah, I'd go with a 9 to be safe.
Yeah, at least. I think it might be 9 and change. It's big. But anyway, 11 NBA games tonight for Felipe, including the Heat in Milwaukee. And the Magic are taking on the Lakers. That's back-to-back for the Lakers. I'll be curious how much LeBron plays. That game's on NBA TV. The first of the NBA TV doubleheaders is Steph and Golden State also playing back-to-backs in New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. Both the Lightning and Panthers in action tonight, Mark. You think the folks in Boston are going to be a little honked off to see the Panthers?
Whoo!
During the last time they saw the Panthers?
Yeah. And they picked up right where they left off before that series. They're playing incredible hockey.
Exactly. So Boston hosting the Panthers and the Lightning hosting the Kraken. Our guy John Forsland on the call locally for Seattle. But so both the Panthers and Lightning in action tonight. Game 3 of the World Series, 8 o'clock, Big Fox. Series tied at 1. We'll see if Scherzer can give the Rangers any innings. He's pitched 2 starts, 6 2/3 innings. I mean, can he give him 5 innings tonight?
You said it before. This would be big if Arizona can get tonight. Clear edge in the series.
Well, yeah, because both teams, Arizona had no problems in the NLCS Game 4. They went with a bullpen game. Game 4, they were down 2-1, and Torey Lovello had no problem throwing a bullpen game like it was a Wednesday in June. So, Arizona's probably going to do it again. They won the bullpen game against the Phillies. There's only 3 guys they want to send to the hill. Same with Texas. So both teams pitching guys they really don't want to pitch tomorrow. Don't you feel a lot better about tomorrow if you win tonight?
And Texas, when they've gone cold, they've gone cold.
Very streaky.
So
what'd they win? Like 7, 8 in a row, lost 3 in a row, win 3 in a row, lost game 2. So we'll see. Texas unbeaten on the road so far in the playoffs. That is remarkable. And I mean, they beat 3 dogs too. We're talking the Rays, the Orioles, and the Astros. I mean, just 3 horrible teams. Combined, they won 290 games this year. 8-0.
Does Arizona get it done tonight against Scherzer? I don't think they do, but boy, oh boy, it would make this series riveting. I mean, it would make Tuesday must watch.
And it's a toss-up betting game, too. It's like 110 both ways. So that's if you're into it. Mark has the World Series and 4.5 million viewers. I have Monday Night Football.
Just need a Detroit cover. I can't have a losing record to lose that one. I can't go from 3-1 to 3-3 and lose both of those.
That's right. Mark Miller 3-1 on his picks tonight, and he's got the Lions -7.5. And I'm in another slump. Oh boy.
It's always going with those high-end quality games that you do each week, the big games on the board. It's not messing with those little games. That's where you get yourself in trouble. Maybe you got to find a ECU.
Is it Jason and Todd at the Diamond District?
When choosing something of high value and personal
Tulane and Rice.
Diamond, you want to make sure you're shopping with the best. And the best when it comes to GIA certified diamonds and diamond jewelry is not online. It's not in the malls. And it's not with any of the new pop-up jewelry stores trying to make a go of it here in Southwest Florida. The best place to buy diamonds is with my friends Jason and Todd at the Diamond District, who have made Southwest Florida their home for over 20 years now. The largest selection of GIA certified diamonds is with the Diamond District. The only place you'll find diamonds 8 to 10% over cost is with the Diamond District. America's top bridal designers have chosen the Diamond District to represent their engagement rings exclusively in Southwest Florida. Simply put, the best selection, experience, and best prices are with Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Visit Jason and Todd at the Diamond District.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're